can't pronounce his name.
K-O-M... What would you say it was?
K-O-M-R-K.
R-K. Cormac.
Come R. Kelly.
Don't think you appreciate that? Zorvik.
It's the North Dakota guy. Alright, fire when ready.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Well, are we going to... well, hold on. Should we... do you have all the names ready to go? So there's...
Yep. I do now.
Excellent. All right.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 this time. A random number generator. Ready? That's a...
It's actually named Freddy. Would be awesome if it was.
SNAFU. Situation normal. All fouled up. This is SNAFU.
Okay. All right. Welcome to another episode of SNAFU. I'm Rick. Episode number 63, right, guys?
Sounds right.
Yeah? Everyone say hi. Say hi, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
Say hello, Dale.
Hello, guys.
Say howdy, Pat.
Hey guys, how's it going? I mean, sorry, howdy.
No, it's fine. No, it's okay.
Already messing up by the numbers.
All right. Well, welcome to episode 63. Yet another episode of us talking.
Because you asked for it.
No one's asking for it.
I don't think anyone's asked
no one
for
asked us not to. I guess is probably more accurate.
You didn't tell us to stop, so we took it as a yes.
Careful. We got a lot of people on Discord now that might say stop.
It's not exactly like they're spoiled for choice, so...
Ouch.
I mean, it's like you still drink that cup of coffee from that shitty coffee place because it's the only one that's kind of on the way to work.
Thank you all for settling for us.
And you're really desperate, so...
But the beauty is they get to have they can have 4 or 5 cups of coffee a day. They don't have to have just that one. So we can be the crappy one. That's fine. Works for me.
Works for me.
All right, we're going to talk about some fun stuff. We'll do another drawing because we had more people submit pictures of stuff. Obviously, some rules. Looks like Pat's going to talk about theater war scenarios, and we're going to talk about something different than an army book, right? We're going to talk about tanks, which I think is pretty fun.
Light tanks in particular.
Light tanks, yeah. Sorry, I should clarify that. Small tanks, not the big boys, the little boys, the ones that I think are probably more useful in the game, quite honestly. But anyway, we'll start as we always do with Hobby Talk. Sorry. That just never mind. We don't need the segment anymore.
Well, now they know if they actually want to listen to it or not. They can turn it off and go find a better podcast to kill their time.
Just listen to static. That sometimes might be better. Funny enough, I think I've selectively trained my body to go to sleep to white noise from all my children needing white noise to fall asleep. And it would plump through the monitor, and I would fall asleep to it. So now anytime you hear white noise, I just fall asleep into my children's room. It's really weird. Like Pavlov's, not Pavlov. Yeah, Pavlov.
Oh, yeah. Pavlov's.
Yeah, the dogs ringing the bell, salivating. Yep.
Woof.
I'm essentially that, except you just fall asleep. So
just
anyway.
trained behavior.
Hey man, if it works, grow with it.
I know, right? I'm like,
hey,
it's
some
great.
people would kill for the ability to fall asleep to something.
Anything? Yeah.
Anything.
Well, try white noise. It's actually it is quite relaxing once you get used to it.
I'm an ocean waves guy, so...
Which is essentially moving white noise, right? You just get the little ups and downs with it.
Yeah, a little rhythmic.
Yeah, enough about our sleeping habits.
Tangent.
We'd like people to stay awake. Tangent, 2 minutes in. Not even a record.
Well, no, that's not even a record.
It's not even close.
No. I would have been worthless assaulting the beach on D-Day.
You just fall asleep
to bring it back.
Asleep on the way in.
I think the gunfire might have rattled you a little bit.
Yes. Just been training for years. All right. Let's start where we always do with hobby updates. My name's first on the list this time, so I'm going to go first because I'm
presuming you've done some stuff.
I mean, I've done some. I actually did paint some Romanians. I was assembling some more. I needed to stop doing that because of your tournament. I'm like, I probably realized a month ago that I wasn't going to have my Romanians done in time for that. So I
realized when I announced the tournament you weren't going to have a Romanian.
Yeah, thanks, Pat. Way to have faith in me. It was a lot of dudes that I had to get painted. and a bunch of artillery pieces. Dude, I'll tell you right now. I'm sorry, Warlord. Your metal artillery pieces are.
You can
sometimes,
stop. Just metal.
Metal artillery pieces in particular are pretty awful sometimes. They don't always fit together.
I see a lot of questions posting like, "Hey, does anyone have any instructions for these? How's this supposed to go together?"
Yeah.
Most of them, yeah.
And you guys know when I was at that military history museum, I took like 10 pictures of the artillery pieces from every angle so I could show people how the hell those things go together.
That would be great. Like, and that's useful. Actually, though, it's funny.
They're on their Facebook still.
Are they?
Yeah.
There you go.
For those of us that look at that, which isn't really me, honestly.
Yeah, right. I look at the business side of things. I don't actually look at our actual Facebook anymore.
Yeah, if someone doesn't message me directly, I don't really pay much attention to
Sorry,
it. So.
Facebook people. Like, you can.
Discord is so much more effective.
Well, we will interact with you on Facebook still, but it's definitely not our primary mode of communication at this point. Mm-hmm. Regardless, I will give Warlord credit in this case. They actually did have directions on the website. I was looking at pictures trying to figure it out, and the last picture is actually the diagram of how to put the damn thing together.
No, was that the last picture?
You're asking the wrong person. But so I did some of that, and I am working on my, what is this? The Panzerwerfer 42 right now is on my paint desk right now.
Nice.
To get all painted up. And
Panzerwerfer, who uses those?
I'm not using one ever in any tournament whatsoever.
Of course not. It's not one of the best units in the game for its points at all.
Let me check Rick's list again real quick here.
And everyone knows that Rick is a super friendly player that is only thinking about the enjoyment of the player that he happens to be facing. So he doesn't favor choices like that.
Hold on, Pat. Can I revise my list?
You can, but now you're looking at a 10-point.
Oh, never mind. I guess I'm not going to be that guy at this tournament. Actually, I don't. My list is pretty friendly, other than the Panzerwerfer.
What about the motorcycle?
We'll see. I brought the motorcycle too.
Yeah.
Zoom. I mean, 45 points. Oh, yeah, I forgot I brought a Puma too. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I should close that. But if we want to, I mean, all the lists are locked in. We can certainly go through those at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I would gladly talk about what I brought, but let's talk about more hobby stuff.
Sure.
That was all I've worked on. Dale, how about you? Have you been working on anything?
Submitted a list for a tournament.
Which was different than I thought it was going to be, Dale. It's
really?
It's not the WTC list I recall. It must have had some changes in there that I didn't notice.
I'm going to have to look at that list then because I might not know what I actually submitted to you. So.
To be fair, Pat.
Shoot.
To be fair, Pat might not remember that because it was 2 years ago now. Year and a half ago.
I just pulled the list off my Easy Army login. That
it's only got the one implement.
That said it only has one.
It's got an implement, an anti-tank rifle.
Well, fucking hell. I'm going to have to do some painting.
That's the list you submitted, anyway.
For anyone listening, if you go to or are planning on going to a tournament where you submit lists, be sure to double-check the list that you submit. In the event that...
you may have grabbed a previous list that says because you have so many on Easy Army.
Yeah, right.
That's a thing.
That is a thing. So
Drat.
Dale's going to be first on the hobby list next month.
I'm going to have to scroll through to see what I actually sent over to you. And then this last weekend, moved one of my kids out of the house, so that room is free. So I'm going to move all of my hobby and computer stuff into that room.
Nice.
And I have access to a camera for video recording and other such things. So there's I'm being pushed from outside forces to maybe start YouTubing and shit like that. So we'll have to see.
Oh, it's not.
We'll have to see what happens.
Only fans.
Sorry.
Fans only is funny because it takes you to CBS Sports.
I didn't know that.
It does.
I think I'd have to participate in that community to get requests, and I don't. So, but hey, I mean, maybe there's a tanks only. I could maybe figure something out there. I don't know. In any event, so over the next week or so, I'll be setting that up. So that should be fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
There you go, Dale. I popped the list in the chat for you there, just in case you wanted to.
So, if for those listening at home that try to do the fansonly.com thing, it doesn't work. It used to work. It doesn't anymore for some reason. CBS must have been like, "Nah, this is pretty.
It's too close.
It's a little too close, maybe." Yeah. Someone probably complained.
Oh Lord.
Well, whatever.
I don't like your list, Dale.
I don't like this list either. There's a transport in here.
Oh, my one whole transport. Watch out.
Well, what the hell am I going to do with that? That is super weird.
I guess, given your list, I guess a transport doesn't make a lot of sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
The Scouts got SMGs, yeah. So okay, well.
Do you have a truck painted?
That is the list I had approved, Dale. So you're running that one or resubmitting at a 10-point scenario.
I have an American truck painted for you.
I guess the upside of this is that it isn't what I was thinking about taking to WTC, so I wouldn't be spoiling anything in that regard. So
there you go. Way to find the silver lining.
Yeah,
I don't.
To
even
be
know
honest, I just checked the order dice and that there were 2 platoons and assumed that was correct. So, all right, onward and upward.
You know what they say about assumptions, right?
Well,
yes, we all know.
I don't need an assumption for that. That's kind of
that's not what they say at all.
Well, they don't.
Well, they are, but that's not what That's not what my dad used to tell me when I was a kid.
Ass out of you an umption.
Yeah, out of you and me. Yeah.
Yep.
That's just assume.
When you assume.
Let's just assume. When you assume, you're ass out of me. Assumption is the mother of all fuck ups.
Oh, well, there we go. I learned something today. And knowing's half the battle.
Right.
Go Joe.
Yo Joe.
Go Joe. All right.
Is it Go Joe or Yo Joe?
Yeah, good question, actually. I thought it was Gojo.
I thought it was Gojo.
That's the goop that you wash your hands with, but for the mechanics out there in the world.
Okay, all right.
Did you just tangent a tangent?
Yes.
I think you did.
I use...
You must be leveling up.
Tangent Inception.
I use the super orange stuff, so...
Same thing. So the phrase... Well, let's see what it is. Because it's Yo-Jo, by the way.
No,
well, that makes no sense at all, but okay.
Not to be confused with the Hago, which is World War II Japanese tank. So.
I mean, who's G.I. Joe yoing to? I mean, that doesn't make any sense at all.
Good question. Let's ask the creators of. We'll have them on. Never mind. Jeff, what have you been working on?
Finishing up my army list for Pat's tournament. So
yeah, I saw what you're bringing. We're both on the wrong side of the battle apparently because everyone's bringing frickin' Americans. Again.
Yeah, well, we should have brought our Americans to join the party, right?
Just been a practice battle.
Yeah, right. Just big old yank fest.
Oh, jeez.
Literally.
That's what we're calling it. We're calling it a yank fest.
This is not Theaters of War anymore. It's just yank fest.
It's yank fest.
Circle jerk yank fest.
No, it's flying through. I had to finish up a couple adjustments to the list I gave to Pat, and then that I was painting every single one of these guys I had, and which one I was like, we're going to paint exactly what I need. So I kind of
Jeff was the only one to submit a hard copy list.
What does that mean?
I gave him a physical copy.
Did you fax it to him?
That means?
I saw him on a Thursday night and just handed it to him.
He was nursing a semi when it was happening or something?
It's on a 3.5 floppy.
I mean, yeah, but
wow.
I'm getting too old. It used to be a 5-inch disc.
Must be cold out.
Turtle.
Shrinkage.
Wow. Okay. Well, we've gotten our penis jokes in now too. So now let's moving on. Jeff, anything else you've been working on?
That's the majority of it. I printed one vehicle for the list, and I bought a new Rubicon kit for the other one because God bless America, Rubicon's just got such nice kits.
Yeah, they do.
Which kit? Can you tell us what kit it is?
Yeah. Well, I'll be talking about it. Probably tangentially talking about it later. It's a light tank.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to hear about it.
Yeah.
I always like Rubicon kits. So
yeah,
not one I hate.
So good.
They really are
so good.
Well, here's the thing about it, right? So we're all used to, even the Warlord, like the plastics, the hard plastics, the Italeria or whatever. What is that the name of the brand? Like those are okay. Like they go together pretty well and they usually fit pretty well. But like Rubicon, they just like know how to engineer that stuff.
Yeah.
But the other side is, if you bought any one of the resin kits from Warlord, you're like lucky if you got a good resin cast. Like there's so much flashing and stuff on these, it's just ridiculous. So yes, when you get a really good kit, you're really
tip on the Rubicon: when you've decided what model you're going to make, grab a highlighter and go through the instructions and highlight that. That shows
it's actually
up in each
smart.
one of the steps.
Yeah, that's not
so
a bad
you don't
idea.
forget halfway through.
I have like a half Panzer E, half Panzer F, half Panzer G. I'm just like, this looks cooler.
Panzer
I'm
mashup.
Like, I was like, but it was kind of like, I don't like that piece so much. I'm going to just put the other one on there. Whatever. Who cares? No one will ever notice. So rivet counters, don't look at my tanks. Please don't. You'll be sadly upset.
It's true.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that army. We haven't seen it yet. I know you've been working on it for a while. So
yeah. Well, don't get too excited because I like it, but it's been a struggle to actually get through it. So
okay,
maybe not my best work. Just because.
Is it because you haven't had anybody encouraging you? Like you haven't shown it to anyone, so none of us have been able to see it and be like, yeah, that's what we like.
No, it's very much just like every time I'm building a list or painting it, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, I like how these models look, but every time I'm putting a unit together, I'm thinking, any other country does this better.
Fair. Okay. Well, besides that point, the depressing state of that army list is definitely
is depressing.
It's well documented.
Yes, it's FC episode 1 through 62 of ours. I'm sure we've talked about it in almost every episode. No, but I'm still curious. I'm excited to see what you do with it because I know that you're.
I'm excited about your polish on the turd as well.
Exactly. Exactly. See how well you can do with it.
I told Pat this. I'm not going to play down, but I'm not explicitly coming to win because I don't expect to win with this list. Although I'm going to try pretty damn hard.
As you should. I mean, right? This is not a.
As we've well established, I don't know how to ringer.
You do not.
I don't know how to play socks. Sorry.
You're knocking models over all day long on your table.
That's why I like playing you, Jeff. I know there's no slouch in that. If I do reasonable, I actually did honestly reasonable. So
yeah. I'll give everything I got. So that's how it's going to be.
Cool. All right, Pat. Pat, what have you been working on since? My gosh, you got a tournament coming up.
So I have gotten through 6 of the 8 boards, and I got to the 7th one. Set it back up, and this is like my Battle Bulge boards. This is a winter board, which those are really tough to do, by the way. But when they come together, wow, they come together. So, and I realized that I just had too many gaps. I needed to do some more work on that. So I got some craters that were supposed to show up to today, but they did not. I've also gone and I've checked. I had to redo about 24 smoke puffs just because those batteries don't last forever. And
you can't replace them?
You can.
Or you can just replace the whole thing.
Or, it's not always the battery that didn't really stop working, but,
the mechanics aren't exactly...
it's basically teddy bear stuffing is what they're made of, and that, that only holds up so long. So I do about 24 more of those. I had to put together a ringer list, just in case we had an odd drop on the day of. So I've got my 1942 DAC with 6 sherds and squads in there.
See, Pat also doesn't know how to ringer.
Well, and thankfully, so we had an early drop of a gentleman named Logan, who is honestly the reason I know anything about Battleground Cafe. So I would definitely want to reach out to him and say, hey, dude, I know you're kind of stressed about painting and playing. Why don't you just be the ringer for me? You plan to be in there all day anyway to hang out with your buds and see what's going on. This is a no-stress way to get into a tournament. He's like, that sounds so cool.
Nice.
Awesome. I got my ringer. I don't have to think about that. Because I hate having an odd, and I know Jeff volunteered to be the odd drop if we had something day of. But, so I had to put together 2 squads, 2 8-man squads of Sherns, and I actually did a dedicated loader this time. That was new, so that actually took something off my checklist, which I am a little over halfway through. If you go back into January, it's even pinned in our hobby channel.
I even forgot what it was.
I printed it out and taped it next to my hobby station, and I've been checking things off as I go through them.
Nice.
Yeah, that's great.
I am over halfway through, so having a dedicated loader was actually one of those things on there. So I also did a anti-tank rifle team, 2 men and a large base, just for you, Rick.
Thank you.
Yep.
John?
Got a 222, and I put together for this month's challenge, which we'll talk about, or this month's contest we'll talk about, I got a Hungarian armored car.
Ooh.
Because I was thinking, people talk about how tough Germany is to play, and I thought, Well, why don't you skip a few meals and play hungry? Let's see how tough that is.
Wow. That was the worst joke ever.
That was classic. That's classic dad joke. Come on now.
That's classic dad right there. You got to admit. So I threw a 39M.
Not classic.
That's not classic in my book either.
Classic would be like a burger and cheese. That was like a really bad Impossible Burger 2 weeks behind the counter or something.
The moldy bun.
Yeah.
No, dude.
Well, no, the bread was okay, but...
What, did the plant burger go good somehow?
The Impossible Burger?
The current ones I'm pretty happy with personally. So
have you tangentially had an Impossible Burger? Like, I've never had one.
Who were you asking?
Like, yeah, did you say you had just had a vegetarian burger?
Oh okay. Yeah. Every time I go to Red Robin, I order that one. So
I'm just gonna put this out there. Has anyone in the world ever attempted to take a steak and tried to make it look like broccoli so someone would eat it?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Right.
We have some pretty incredible resources in our city. The vegetarian meat substitute is a thing, so it's not going away, Pat.
Carnivores for the win. Anyway, so I threw together the 39M Casaba?
Saba, I think, yeah. I think the C is mostly silent.
So, well, otherwise it'd just be Casaba, which would be cool. So yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit of Hungry this month, I think.
Nice,
sweet.
Got a couple boxes of paratroopers, which you know when you get those 10-man, God help me, metal squads. You need 2 boxes so you can get the 10-man squad you actually want to pull out of there. So,
yep. Sadly, they don't give you enough of what you want. I really wish they would. I know that they're like going the opposite way of this, but like being able to buy single miniatures was really fabulous at one point.
Really was.
And I wonder if you could like just contact them directly and be like, "Hey, I really want 10 SMGs. Can I have 10 SMGs?" Or like,
I've heard that rumor that you can.
Yeah,
I've heard some people say that's been done. But you have to contact the right guy at customer service,
right,
and probably place the order with that same guy before he hangs up the phone.
Which is possible. You need to be ready to. I mean, you need to be ready to pull the trigger when that happens. But like, right, I want 6 Pacific, like Marine flamethrower teams, but I don't want to buy the frickin' sniper with them because I only need 1 or 2 snipers ever. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm like, can I just buy 4 or 5 just flamethrower teams? Don't give me the other stuff. And I haven't actually reached out and tried, but I kind of just gave up on that plan for a while because
if Warlord won't do it, I know someone that will.
Right? There's been alternatives since I was thinking about that. So
yep.
Hey, they sponsored us. You can mention them, Jeff.
Which one? Well, they didn't really sponsor us. So
they did last year.
Sponsored a tournament, right?
They sent prize support, is what he's
saying. Yeah. I'm just, sorry, making sure we clarify what we're talking about. Right. Which one are we talking
about?
That's
Gaddis Gaming.
Yep.
Gaddis.
I was thinking about them. Again.
And
sure they'll give us
their metal size meshes perfectly with Warlord's metal size.
Yep.
Interesting.
So, and he sells it. You have to ask because he sells the kit as part of like a set too. But I specifically emailed him and asked because I wanted 4 flamethrowers. He was like, "Sure thing, no problem."
Interesting.
You want to what a jerk! 4 flamethrowers. Who does that?
And then I didn't even bring him to Bug Eater, so
it was his ringer list.
I only brought
right.
Right. That's no worries. All right. Well, obviously we've been kind of busy. Like we've been going to the game store again. Not so much to play bolt action, but the opportunity to get out and see each other and be able to interact is encouraging to be able to do this stuff too.
Those local to Twin Cities, the Source is starting to do some regular bolt action open nights, come learn the game sort of things.
Cool.
So
Super cool.
I think they're doing those Wednesdays once a month. I think it's the second Wednesday of the month. So.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I sat and talked to Patrick for a while. I stop in there on Fridays usually, and I go in there to pick something up, and we end up talking for 40 minutes. But he's finally playing again, so he's kind of excited to keep that going. So
good, that's great.
That's good.
He's a good guy too. I have the same problem. He's an easy guy to just chat with for a while. So
40 minutes later, I'm like, okay, dude, I got to go get lunch. It's like, oh yeah, right. I should probably work or something. Hey, you go do that for me, so I can keep talking.
Yeah, right. So you keep the source open.
Right.
Okay, cool. Well, that was a good hobby month. I probably have like 2 things checked off the checklist, Pat, but I think we'll just kind of be okay with that.
Well, when we get closer, we'll go back and I'll listen to our January and see what we all thought everyone was going to land at, but I'm pretty sure you weren't expected to make the halfway point, so I think you're on pace.
Sweet.
That was by your own prediction, by the way. We're not.
I'm not by Pat's prediction. Pat has lower expectations than I do myself.
Wow.
Well, I mean,
that's Pat's more realistic.
I have fewer
than the
kids
rest
than
of
you
us.
do.
More free time.
Yes.
All right. So we, as an extension of a hobby, we had you guys encouraged or doing hobby stuff with us on our Discord server. So we're going to do that again. We had 10 people complete this month. So I think it's a little bit down from last month.
Did we have 16 last month?
Yeah, I think we had a lot more the first month, but I think we need to let's keep going with this.
Did you not reward the guy who won or something?
Yeah, sorry. The previous winner, I need to contact you because I was out of town when our episode dropped, so I didn't want to tell you beforehand. So my apologies. We will still obviously get you a gift card or get credit to somewhere. So anyway, we're going to do the same thing this month as far as what they win. So $25 to Warlord, or if you're in the States, to GC Minis, just to help you with the shipping cost. Right? If you order locally, then we're not basically just paying for your shipping. But so we have 10 people. I have a random number generator.
Was I one of them? Because I finished mine.
I'm sorry, Pat. I took you out of the list.
Aww.
So we actually had 11 people complete it. I'm sorry.
But I ordered from GC Minis. All right. Do you want to drum roll or something?
No, I'm sorry.
Are you on the wrong computer? Again?
I know. I closed the tab. It's like, where did the tab go? I'm like, the tab's gone. All right. So 1 through 10.
So leaving all this in.
Number 3 is Lando's Cape Guy wins.
Hey, the guy you pulled for last month.
Yeah, I like
because you can pronounce it.
Yeah. I can't remember what he made last month, but I think I remember liking his stuff particularly.
Well, hopefully it was a weapons team.
Well, yeah. No, the previous month when I was hoping for him. Lando's Cape Guy did a ghillie suit sniper team.
Oh, that looked really sweet.
Yeah, that was a good
did really good.
Yeah,
that was an awesome job on that.
Yeah, you got lots of likes on there. So congratulations.
I re-hid my model. His looks so good. So I have the same model. I'm like, I'm not painting this now.
No, he did a really good job. Canadian, so he did it as Canadians. So we will reach out to you and get you set up with some maybe another sniper team or something. Maybe not. Who knows?
I mean,
cool.
Sniper
Congratulations.
teams do you need in the list?
Maybe 2, not 6.
Well, and I know you leaked it on our Discord channel because posts have been coming in all over, and I mentioned earlier. But what is the official category for August?
Oh yes. So we're doing any vehicle this month, so you can do any transport, tank, armored car, whatever you want to do.
Armored fighting vehicle, so it has to have a weapon.
Oh, you can do a transport too. I don't care. Do any kind of vehicle, anything with wheels on it,
right,
even if they're tracked wheels.
Tracked wheels.
You know what I mean? Well, those are wheels. They're still round.
Tracks have road wheels. It's all good.
Yeah. They still have wheels inside their tracks. Smarty pants. All right.
That's got gears too.
Yeah, but so do trucks. Like, they have gears too, right?
Sure.
Inside. But anyway, any vehicle. I'm sure we won't see any transports anyway. I've seen everything that people have been posting, and none of them are trucks. So don't worry, Pat.
Yeah, so far no trucks.
So everything's had a gun. We've had some crazy. Like, what the hell was that one that I saw? Somebody posted one that was like a World War I tank. That I was like, what the hell is this thing?
Was that the FT-17?
Is that what it was? John R. posted it.
Yep.
So I remember his name. I was like, what is this tank?
Yep, it's the FT-17.
Yeah, well, that's a World War I tank that was actually used a fair amount in World War II as well, because France had a lot of them.
They needed to use them because they had some.
And they were in a hurry to do something.
There's this little tank that Traylon Space has submitted as well. Looks like it has a howitzer on it. So,
which one?
It's a little tiny one. He doesn't actually identify what it is.
Oh no, it's the Satan. He turned a Stuart into a Satan.
Oh, there it is. Okay,
that's the flamer tank.
Yep, that's what I'm like. I actually kind of appreciate.
There's
that he
the
did
barrels
that, 'cause I was
there and
looking
stuff.
at one.
Yeah. He's like, oh crap, I screwed up. I built the wrong tank. I'm like, this is the tank in your list. That's what you have to play. He's like, oh crap, I gotta mod it then. I'm like, yeah,
sorry.
Well, you gotta change
That's
your list.
That's a hard-nosed TO. It's okay. It's good. At some point, you have to draw a line, right? You drew the line, and that's okay. I would never be good at that. I'd be like, oh, okay, you can do it this once.
I didn't let a priest talking to 2 hookers pass as a bazooka team, so,
Yeah, well, I was on par with, I agreed 100% with you on that one. Yeah. I think everyone did.
I think that was a Bazumba team.
Bazooka. Yeah.
That's like a weird. That's an awful joke. Like 2 priests and a hook, and a priest and 2 hookers walk into a bar with a bazooka, and there should be a punchline there, right? Like whatever that is.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Nonetheless, I'm interested to see the theme of that person's army when they put it out there. Just because
I will give them a little bit of leeway because it was a partisan army, right?
Right. You expect kind of off the wall stuff,
some zany stuff in there.
Okay, the numbers count for the team is wrong. Not to mention the 4 boobs,
Yeah.
But
what is this, Total Recall?
Yeah, right.
No, that was 3. That was odd numbers. Odd numbers only.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about this. Well, I guess let's go into rules because that's where we go next in the thing.
Hey, we got an update because we were
not
100% correct in the last episode as it came channeling down through the WTC.
This isn't possible. We're always correct.
Yeah, they're usually wrong. That's really the reality of it, right? Sometimes they're wrong. We're not wrong.
Well, I've heard somewhere that I'm one of the 2 people in the world that somebody thinks is absolutely correct in all the rules. So I really apologize for missing this one.
Is one of them you?
No.
Oh wow.
Is one your daughter?
No.
And your mom?
No. If you guys have happened to heard anyone listens to the Sounds of Battle podcast, which you could, the Welsh guys are fucking hysterical. Their latest episode just dropped a couple days ago. Reese had mentioned that I'm one of the 2 people in the world that he trusts rules interpretation to, which I was actually very flattered by. So thank you, Reese. I appreciate that.
Wait, didn't we just have to correct you on ambush rules with vehicles?
Yeah. That was in a private chat. That's something he was on anyway.
You did like off the cuff answer the question in our private chat,
right?
And
you would have. I came back within 3 minutes with the page number. Thank you.
Yeah, we were. Well, Jeff and I were like, "What? That doesn't sound right." I'm like, "I've been playing this game wrong."
Same. I was like, "I've used a transport and ambush many times, so if that's the actual rule, sorry, everybody."
That's what I was mostly worried
about.
I
was hung up on the indirect fire part that vehicles could have, so that I think that's very mystic because you can't ambush an indirect fire.
Right, correct.
Right.
Yeah,
regardless of what it's mounted to.
Right. So if it was like a tank with a howitzer or something like that, you could ambush, but it has to direct fire. So
Yep.
But that's not the rule in particular I was talking about that I was wrong on.
No, this is like a joke too, right? The green, the commissar, and the medic walk into a bar. Which one orders the drinks? Right. Like it doesn't make a lot of sense. There's too many things going on.
So again, if you have in this case a Soviet unit that's at full strength and they have pins and there's a commissar and a medic nearby, what happens first when they fail that order test? So if they're full strength, it doesn't matter. The commissar is going to shoot somebody because his is a must rule, and literally the full strength rule says can reroll. So
it's a forced versus.
So it's a forced versus choice, and that's what Paul Walker and the WTC judges honed in on. And then the medic rule is a casualty for small arms. However, the commissar does in fact say model is removed. Doesn't say anything about casualty.
Casualty is
just removed.
Yeah. So that is the correct sequence on that. It's if you have the commissar and other people kind of like played it down as like, oh man, now you're just really not wanting that commissar in there. It's like everyone puts commissar because he's a 15-point order dice.
I want to go back for a second. What were we wrong on? Because I'm pretty sure that I thought that's what we said.
Because we said we would give them the choice.
Oh, I didn't say that. What the hell?
Dale did.
That doesn't sound like me.
Do I need to go back to the audio?
No. Just play it. Just cut it in here, Pat. Like just right here.
Oh, no. maybe I'm a believer of whose ever turn it is usually gets to decide the order.
Well, with the order dice thing, though, whose turn is it really?
Yeah. Well, if it's your
order dice, and you fail an order check. So anyway, the commissar shoots first before you get a chance to make a full strength check.
Well, and the commissar removes a model, so you don't get a choice.
So the medic doesn't get a chance. The medic just kind of frowns and goes, "Well, he's dead. Give him more."
So the commissar, that there isn't a choice. You have to use the commissar. What if you don't?
It actually says whether you like it or not.
whether you like it or not.
In the commissar description.
I mean, that's the entire idea of the commissar, right?
Yeah.
Is he's got one job and one job only.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the other commissar kills him.
Yeah, I don't favor the commissar, but that makes sense. All right.
Gives you some. It gives you some.
Oh, it's a good choice. It's a good
inexperienced babysitting, sure, but
yeah, it's a good choice.
Yeah, it's a cheap dice too. Well, regardless.
So
I could have gotten that. We probably could have gotten it right too, but I don't know. Like, I think they had to look at it and try and figure it out how they interacted, because that's
and
it wasn't 100%.
So
clear.
I got an opportunity to back us. So they had the Twisted Lords Con a couple weekends ago, and I got the opportunity to jump in on one of their meetings in which Alessio was involved in too. And so I got to talk to him direct about that. And he said, yeah, this is one of those things where, a version 2 interaction with version 1, how much of all that was really vetted and thought through. But it sounds like the thought process that you and Paul Walker have is the correct one for it, is that, the commissar, he does this, and yep, it's automatic, it happens. But in version 2, we kind of tried to come up with an option for you to, make better, to encourage those full-strength teams, but without really looking at the implications of a version 1.
Sure.
Yeah, as far as like the commissar goes.
Yeah.
Well, gee, that's an easy fix. Just to update everything to version 2.
Well, why don't we just jump to version 3? But anyway,
right?
Does the when we bring Alessio on to the podcast and interview him, we're going to hammer him pretty hard about version 3. But
yeah, he's not going to come back to our episode.
In that case, we probably won't even get him on.
And now that we've telegraphed that, we're not ever likely to have him on. But so the green unit, do they get the roll from the commissar, or no? Because the green rule specifies that the first time that the unit suffers a casualty, and if it's not a casualty because it's just removed from play, they don't get their green roll?
That I would also believe to be correct, because it's removed.
All right.
Yeah, it's not a casualty, it's just a removed.
Yep.
Yeah, because the idea being is that it's from fire in front, not from behind, right? It's a little bit different.
Yeah, it is a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
Although, I don't know. I mean, it's not exactly scathe and leave from behind. The commissar might be right there in front of him, so...
Right,
potentially possible, but he still turns around and shoots a guy. Like it's not exactly your enemy shooting.
May not exactly be inspiring,
right? I mean, we joke about this, but that's pretty awful in reality. Like, and then like as a medic, he'd be like, if I were a medic in the Soviet, I'd be like, am I supposed to fix that guy or no? Like,
imagine the balls in the medic just starts bandaging the guy the commissar just shot. Imagine the medic's next.
Yeah.
So this next one too, I also got the opportunity to talk to Alessio about. I just looked at. In this case, we're looking at theaters that were in the Soviet Union book, and there's a lot of them that allow 0-2 artillery, but then you get to the tow and transport section, and it says 0-1 transport per infantry, and then a separate line is 0-1 tow.
Dope.
So, and this was the Soviet book was written by Andy Chambers, and he was on just beforehand, and he was doing Blood Red Sky stuff, and so I didn't feel the need to interject, but I really wanted to because I know he wrote the Soviet book. And then I was talking.
Alessio didn't write the Skaven book?
No, Andy Chambers wrote the Soviet Union book. But I was talking to Alessio about it.
Well, before you move on, because you brought up the Skaven, Andy Chambers wrote the 4th edition Skaven book, and Alessio, I think, wrote the Skaven books after that. So
5th and 6th edition, 7th edition.
So you're saying there's plenty of blame to go around?
So they just know who the good armies are.
put the right guys on the good armies. I was going to say, did Alessio write Chaos too?
Remind me again, Dale, what army are you currently playing?
Soviets.
Yeah, what did you play in fantasy?
Oh, Skaven.
Soviets.
I'm an Andy Chambers fan.
Fanboy, that's what it is, yeah.
He's all fanboy.
The Great Horned Rat.
So much. Is that Andy or you?
No, that's him. That's Andy.
Okay.
Would you rather we try to get Andy on the podcast, or are you okay with Alessio?
If we were talking Blood Red Skies, definitely so.
Or just the Soviet book, I guess.
Honestly, all these guys are in that group of hobby heroes that I have, so it'd be a joy to meet all of them. But that's in any event. So
you'd probably fanboy just as much on Andy Chambers as you would Alessio.
Oh, 100%. So
yeah,
maybe Gav Thorpe a little less. So
yeah,
Thomas Pirinen, perhaps.
He wrote the freaking dwarf book. You're like, nah.
Matt Ward, no.
Anyway. So,
okay. Yes.
The short answer to the theaters that have the 0-2 arty but only the 0-1 tow selector. There's two possible lines of thinking for this. The first one is, logistically speaking, that could have been correct for that time period for that army list, that they just didn't have the toes available for that. And the other option is the author could have said, oops, I fucked up.
Dang it, you should have gotten Andy Chambers.
But until, and so they did make this adjustment in Western Desert. We talked about the Jack column, that they went back and made a change on it. That's and good. By the way, a lot of those in Western Desert are 0-1 per artillery, except for every single Italian selector that has more than one artillery available.
That's
no joke. I really literally went through that book just to find out.
That surely sounds like a copy and paste error, in my opinion.
So until
those knuckleheads.
And so what Alessio said is, what I have to do is I have to contact the author, and I have to find out what his intentions were behind this. Was it that, yes, this is what I found when I did my research, that they just didn't have the logistics for moving these artillery pieces around, and that's why I did that, or no, it should be per artillery piece, and then they can make the correct FAQ errata for it. So,
I mean,
I think that's...
How often does this come up?
Well,
you can bring two heavies?
I think they're steering so hard away from it with their gold standard of only armies of and reinforced platoon that they don't...
That's the other way you address cock-ups like this, is you just sweep it under the rug and nobody look at the man behind the curtain.
Well, a year, 18 months ago, their FAQ basically said, hey, we're not gonna errata any of these campaign books, just tough crap, but then they started errating them anyway.
Well, the recommendation is that if you're looking for, I'm air quoting here, competitive balance play, ignore the theaters, because they weren't necessarily developed or play tested with balance in mind,
with competitiveness in mind. Yeah,
right, and not to disagree that it isn't a bit of a just ignore the man behind the curtain kind of thing. From a design or systems design standpoint, it is the easiest and cleanest and most immediate solution to that particular problem. So, doesn't make it great, but and at least they're kind of moving forward. They're saying, "Hey, let's find out," and maybe they could issue something, and so that kind of does open up a pathway forward to where it might be easier for tournament organizers who are so inclined to include theaters to maybe kind of address those issues.
Yeah.
So not bad, not great. So could be worse.
But here's the thing: is Warlord Games as a whole could just be we're making a decision. It may be right. It's not the first time they've made decisions not based on the historic element of the game, right? It's no, we think that's inappropriate. Let's just make it 0-2 or whatever per artillery piece. I think I'm just looking at it going the only time this ever really comes up is if you decide you're going to bring 2 heavy howitzers or 2 heavy anti-tank guns.
Something you can maybe push on from the edge.
Right. Otherwise, you just take one medium and one heavy,
right.
and you get a toe and you push the other one on. It's not the end of the world.
Well, I mean, and maybe you guys might feel differently, but it feels like they're kind of caught between developing a game with the historical, history in mind and trying to be true to the history, and also trying to develop a game that people are going to play competitively with balance in mind. And
yes. So. Well, and I 100% agree that theaters are not balanced for competitive play. Just that's what it is. That's fine. I'm not going to be upset about it. I'm going to go get smoked in a theaters tournament. So.
Half the field is green at best.
Well, half of them are playing freaking U.S. anyway. So, is that the half that's doing well? Did everyone at Battleground Cafe all decide they were going to play the Americans?
No,
I don't think so. No, okay. I don't think so.
It's just a Yank Fest.
All right. Well, speaking of theaters of war, let's talk about some of the scenarios.
Right, hang on, I got 2 more. It's a transition because. For Theaters of War, I set the date for an FAQ as July 24th, and that, of course, came and passed. So I sent a version C Theater War player pack out that had the FAQs that I have corresponded with Paul Walker and other various, and John Russell and stuff like that, into our player pack. I just want to touch on them real quick. We already talked about the medic, and we talked about the commissar. The other one in here is the question: if a unit of inexperienced shirkers, morale value 8, has 4 pins, Are they considered routed since they count pins as double? No. Shirkers only counts as double for the order test.
Right.
So
not the morale test, the order test.
Not the morale test. So that circulated in the WTC WhatsApp chat. So that that was one of those things that I had to go through with Paul Walker for, and he agreed with me. Fire and morale test. Yeah, sure. So, and then the other one, there is a unit in the Duel in the Sun, the STRAF Battalion Penal Infantry Squad.
He said penal.
I did. Yeah. They will apply the same errata as from the Ostfront Strap Band Penal Infantry Squad, which is you can't get 1-point models if you make them inexperienced weaponless shirkers. Sorry. So it's basically, they're both penal squads. I said penal again, Jeff.
Yeah, you did.
So, and Paul Walker just emailed me today. He's like, yeah, I think we covered that once before. I said, no, it's different theater stuff. Oh, you're right. We should make the same thing. I'm like, yep. So, for the purpose of this tournament, that squad counts as the same. That's errated. So, no 1-point dudes. Sorry, guys. That just seems wrong.
We're okay with that.
Yep. I guess I'm concerned that, was this actually going to happen?
Probably.
Oh, boy.
Well, more than one person asked me about it.
Okay, all right, so they were trying.
Dude, there's a lot of wargamers that are really obsessed with the penal stuff, so...
So it's different kind of rivet counters, huh?
I don't think those are rivets.
Right. Oh, jeez, gross. Okay, I guess I brought a knife to a gunfight. Maybe. We'll see. I guess I got a Panzerwerfer. That's fine.
No, it was disallowed, Rick. It was disallowed.
I know. Well, just the fact that people are trying to do that, like, I'm not that guy, I guess. Someone has to write that list for me, because otherwise I'm not going to play it.
So I've reviewed all the list, and I will say, without going through all of them, because I don't think we want to. We can maybe a post-report we'll go through all the list.
Yeah.
There are at least 3 lists that I kind of want to respond back with, you cheeky motherfucker, you found that one. So.
Yeah. It wasn't my list, that's for sure.
Nope.
It was nobody's list in this podcast. But there are at least 3 lists that I replied back with, you cheeky motherfucker, you found that one. Actually, no, I didn't. No. I wanted to, but I just simply said, your list is accurate and approved, or something to that effect.
Let me ask you a question. Are they mostly being piloted by relatively new players?
Let me double check here. 1? Yes.
Only 1? Oh.
Is that a British list?
No.
Okay.
No, and I have to double check which one of them. But somebody found something that I wasn't sure they were going to find, but they found it. And I'm like, nice.
Okay.
Well, that's part of the fun of the theater tournaments, in my opinion.
It is. Yeah. To be fair, like that is what they're looking for. Then that's
yep.
We're going to get some of that. So
that's
only half the list actually did a theater. The rest were all generic reinforced platoon.
I mean, that's what I did. I guess I could have tried to find one that was going to give me something. I'm playing the Germans. I don't know that I have a list that's other than going DAC. I don't think any theater list is all that compelling. Or if I had 288s, I guess. But I don't have 288s.
Well, you should have asked me as a friend and not a TO. I could have steered you somewhere.
Oh, dude, it's fine.
Yeah.
This is one of those cases where I'm like, I didn't want to paint any models. I'm like, I got to get stuff ready.
I get that.
Oh, so we're going to play before we record again.
Yeah, probably.
So, what's everyone's goal going into the tournament?
Good question.
I'm going to attempt to quell all chaos and give away a bunch of shit.
You do pretty good at that.
Yeah.
You do really good at that, actually.
Everyone needs a sweet spot.
I'll start.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
My goal is to finish all 3 games before time is called.
That's a good goal, actually.
It's a good goal.
I mean, that's a little bit dependent on your opponent being a participant.
I think there's give good games at the same time.
Yes.
But I think that can be a really useful skill as a player to find a way to, even with players that may not be as experienced or as confident playing the game, to still find a way to get through and encourage them so that you can finish the game. I think that's a good skill. So I'll work on that. So, and I guess I'm going to learn how to use goddamn transport.
I was going to say, I have a transport on my list too, Dale. I just have a slightly different list, but what is my goal? Oh, I'm gonna roll so many freaking sixes for my Panzerwerfer and my heavy mortar.
So,
but also for my morale checks.
So, as your captain on your WTC team, I'm hoping for a little more than just I'm gonna hope to roll a bunch of sixes.
Well, okay. Well, see, I'm apprehensive to make any.
You got to have an aim. You got to shoot. You got to aim.
Yeah,
for something.
I understand. Yeah. I actually think I think I'm gonna steal yours and do the same thing. I will try and complete all my games.
Good, because we haven't played a lot in the last year and a half. So
I do have a game. I'm lining up a game before the tournament, so I will have one game in my pocket before all of this happens.
Nice.
So.
Nice.
It'll be a learning game though, because this person wanted to learn how to play the game. He still hasn't started playing yet. So
all right, good.
It is what it is.
Jeff, what about you?
I think my goal for this tournament's going to be to win 2 games.
Okay.
I would like to win more than I lose. 3 rounds, right? So win more than I lose. And then maybe flex on somebody if they lose to Italians and be like, dude, you just lost to Italians. What's up with that?
It's probably going to be because it was a scenario that benefited the defender, and Italians are great at defending. So.
Yeah, somehow I doubt that's going to happen. But I like the enthusiasm.
So, if I recall, there might be some attacker-defender scenarios in this player pack.
Yeah, there might be.
Well, let's speak about that now, since that's a great segue to the next topic, which is the scenarios for the Theaters of War tournament. Theaters of War scenarios.
Yep.
Dale's already expressed his dislike.
Not
off the air.
Some of them, not even off the air.
Well, for one of them, okay, all right.
And so, I mean, I guess it's important to understand that, and we'll get. Well, Pat, what was your philosophy behind
I was gonna say,
the 5 scenarios in this pack?
Okay, so first of all, I think for a 3-game scenario, you need to look at. You need to have an attacker defender, just in case some rube wants to play Italians.
Jesus Christ! Though.
Gosh.
Okay, hang on. I want to hear your philosophy before I comment on that.
Okay. You should do the straight kill points, and there should be at least one objective grab.
So just making sure all of the different types of play is represented.
And with only 3 games, just simple win, lose, draw doesn't work. It doesn't separate enough people.
Yeah, you need
you're relying too hard on secondary objectives for that point.
No disagreement from me on that.
So I had to go through, and the ones that were, many of these are pulled straight. 3 of them were pulled straight from the book, and I had to split out major, minor win conditions for it.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Okay.
So, and that was part of my feedback to Paul and John about, if you're talking a 1-day 3-game, just simple win, lose, draw is not going to separate enough people.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, to be technical, if you're going to do win, lose, draws, you need to have at least 6 scenarios if you're talking 40 players to get somebody to just win, lose, draw.
To get a single winner.
Yeah.
Essentially, to say that you'll have one person that wins.
Yep. On straight mathing it alone, that's what you have to do.
Yeah. I mean, it's not likely to happen, but it is possible that you could have a tie score. For sure.
And I hate relying on just order dice alone being the tiebreaker, because that's a really rough one.
Yeah.
Which is why I include secondary objectives. And to our newer players out there, which is almost half our field, this weekend I will be sending them what the secondary objectives are, but not the veteran players.
Oh.
Just to give them a little just to level the playing field a little bit for them. Because
that's cool.
Veteran players have seen secondary objectives because they play tournaments that have had them. Operation SNAFU, of course, comes to mind.
Well,
are we doing the similar thing like cards?
SNAFU, no. They'll just simply be checklists, and by the end of the game, you can check off up to 3 of them.
Okay, cool. So it's a slightly different take on it. For
sure.
I
think I have. How many do I have in there? I think I have at least. I have more. If you got 3 every single game, you're not going to get all of them. So
sure. Could you score the same one in multiple games?
No, only once per tournament can you score one.
Okay, interesting. You don't need to send it to me because it'll just give me something to think about that I don't need to send it. So. It's just make my life easier. That's streamlined.
You want the rookie label on your Rick?
No, it's fine. No. I mean, I haven't played in almost 2 years. Sure.
Well, because also again, these rookie players who have started in the last year or so, since they haven't had it, there is a starter army that is up for grabs amongst them. Whoever finishes highest amongst them will win a starter army.
Ooh, cool! Very cool.
Nice.
Very nice. Yeah, that's a nice little incentive to. Maybe I should be a rookie then. I think I'm a rookie, Pat. I might still be a rookie.
You don't quite qualify. You've been called up to majors too many times. You haven't really had a long stretch there, but you've been called up several times. So
all right, fine.
I imagine if you count up all of the hours we spent just talking about bolt action on this podcast, we probably that is far more than most people have actually played the game.
You know what the scary thing is, though, is everyone else has listened to all of that.
Well, yeah, in the
I don't know if it's depressing for them or me.
Podcast, Rick.
This is their white noise.
All right, I better.
Nobody has time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
I'm going to try between now and then.
Your commute to work is too short to listen to our podcast.
Listening to us,
walk from the bathroom to my.
They've all learned what not to do, and so
basically,
we don't have that benefit. So.
Yeah, we don't.
All right, so let's hit these scenarios real quick. So
let's do it.
The first one I threw in there is Surrounded because I know Jeff hates it and I love it.
Yeah, I fucking hate that scenario. It should burn in a pit of fire.
I'm not a fan.
Worst scenario in the book.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. Worst scenario. I'd rather play Classified or Manhunt or whatever that stupid one is.
Manhunt still sucks.
Manhunt's terrible.
The one we played the last tournament, that one, the 3 end objectives, is worse.
Surrounded can especially suck depending on the table too.
No, Surrounded is worse because it's the attacker-defender one, and it gives basically fuck all benefit to the Italian.
You know, actually, what would make Defender a better scenario is if the Defender did get to pick a spot, right? You're not dead center in the table, but you'd be somewhere on the middle line or something.
Yeah, it has confused fight though, which means that unless you're protecting your flank, you're going to get completely hosed.
Blows.
So the first thing I did in this scenario is eliminate that die roll for preparatory bombardment. In fact, I did this in the whole packet. It either happens or it doesn't.
Which I like, but not with this scenario.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, this one scenario is probably not a great. Well, you know what, Pat? I've never played it this way before, so
it's an improvement.
Hopefully, just not use this scenario. How's that sound?
So,
well, wait. What do you mean? What do you mean you've changed the rule?
Right, so there's no roll for the preparatory bombardment. You
happens.
just get it now.
The attacker
gets it.
Oh, for this scenario specifically?
Was it? So is this scenario actually skewed towards the attacker?
Not if you're good.
Oh,
okay.
This is So,
me personally, I have won this as both the attacker and the defender several times. In fact, I don't think I've lost this scenario. Honestly.
Let me ask the question though: is this the scenario that you've looked at the other tables and been like every other player or the defender won?
Yeah.
No, that's point defense.
Okay, that's point defense. That's not even in the scenario. Okay.
And I do have a fix for point defense, by the way, but that's not in the packet. So we'll worry about that.
All right. Well, I'm curious how this plays. We'll see how it goes.
So
okay. All right. So I understand what you were saying, that preparatory bombardment always comes in. It says
in my personal opinion,
the
preparatory bombardment really is, for the defender who has to have units out there, is you don't want to put something out there that can get that 6 and that inadvertent one-shot kill.
That's a good strategy.
That's the strategy. That's the strategy playing behind it, and that means you don't necessarily need to put your single artillery out there, especially if it's open top. God help you. And that's just a little thing to think about.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I did is I had to split this to major minor. So the major victory condition is that you have to have at least 5 more victory points than the other player, and this is just as simply enemy destroy for victory points.
Okay.
The minor is at least 2 or more, and the draw is anything else.
I need to look at the rules for Surrounded, but is that how it's always been split up? Is just whoever kills more stuff?
Everything, it's a straight point kill, but it's an attacker defender.
Right, win last draw.
Okay, so what's the victory condition in the book one though? Is it just a head?
Just 2 or more.
Yep, 2 or more and you win.
Yep, the minor victory is the victory condition. I added the major of 5 or more.
Yeah, that's a really tall order.
To major
it's
that
a
way.
major victory.
But that's not what major victory means.
But everyone will be playing this. So
yeah, it does not mean bloodbath.
Okay,
well, I guess it does.
So here's the second question. Since this is the attacker-defender scenario and some idiot brought Italians, where the fuck does the Italian player set up his defensive positions?
So they got the 12 inches from the center. Yeah, they got 12 inch circle.
So if they theoretically get it, they've got to set up 3 6x6x6 bunkers inside a 12-inch circle in the center of the table.
No, it's a 24-inch circle. It's 12 inches on each side, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Radius.
Yeah, okay.
12 inches the center.
Yep.
That's a 20,
so it's 24 inches
It's
wide.
a pretty good space. Yeah.
It's a pretty large circle, quite honestly.
Yeah, you were 12 inches from the long table.
Keep in mind, every table comes with some terrain.
Yeah, this is gonna blow. Sorry.
We'll see how it goes. You might not want to pack. You may not want to pack the defender as the Italians.
Sure, I like not playing with army rules too.
Well,
hey, Hungary does it all the time.
Hungary's got great army rules. What the hell are you talking about?
All right, let's keep moving.
Anyway, this scenario sucks. It can burn in a pit of hell. Sorry.
Next one is.
And to be fair, I think that was before Pat tried to fix it. So.
Sure.
I mean,
this is better than it was.
Yes.
Polishing a turd is still polishing a turd.
That's a big turd.
Hey, I'm being sorry.
Sorry, at least twice I've played this, and I've got. So, like I've said, I've played this scenario in tournaments at least 5 times. I've achieved that major victory at least 3 of those as either attacker or defender. So I think it can be done. I'm not the best player in the world. I'm not the best player in this podcast. So.
Okay, I'm going to add 2 caveats to that, Pat, because you're undervaluing yourself. You've repeatedly been in the top 5 at Bug Eater numerous years, so don't try to downplay yourself. Secondly, no offense, you play a lot of British. British are very good at these kind of scenarios.
That's also true.
Well, this is the only attacker-defender scenario, correct?
No, there's one other.
Okay. All right, so this may not be the one that we play.
So this may not be the one we play. So just because I hate it
Pat's
doesn't mean it's going to be bad.
Pat's going to pick it just because we...
I put it in there just, I put it in just to aggro Jeff.
It worked.
The second one, what I'm calling value positions, this is a brand new scenario.
Ooh.
I wrote this one. It's based loosely off of what our timely objectives was, with a twist. So you've got 3 objectives at the center line, 24 inches apart, and under each one of those, they are valued. One is valued for 3 points. The other 2 are valued 1. The players do not know which one is valued what at the start of the game. You don't score any points during the game, but during the game, when you take the objective, you can look at its value secretly if you want to, but you can make it open if you're that guy. And at the end of the game, whoever has the most points wins. So this is again, let's see. The big thing is the unknown, and I kind of like this one. I think Jeff and I cracked this one a little bit in our drive back from Bug Eater. And I'm really interested if anyone's ever has played this one since I released it over a month ago, or about a month ago. Any feedback on that would be nice, because this is a brand new scenario.
Yep, I like this one. I think it'll be very interesting to play.
So
I don't want to play Dale in this one.
At the end of any game round, player controlling objective. To control it, you have to have one of your infantry or artillery units within 3 inches, or transport including them, and no other enemy units around within 3 inches. Objectives are all measured from the edge of the objective marker, and they're all 30 millimeter objectives this time. I got GC Minis to provide me some
inches.
custom Theaters War objectives, which is very cool of him. Thanks, Alan.
That's cool.
Really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Thank you.
So both players get a preparative bombardment.
Okay.
So you got some deploying, and
okay.
The major victory in this is one side scores at least 4 more victory points than the other.
So you need the 3 and the 1 to get a major.
And at least contest the other.
Whoosh.
Yeah.
It's a tall order.
Yeah. Well, it's supposed to be. Your 3 games,
yeah, it's okay.
You really have to
cool.
assert some dominance on these. So
what happens if no one gets it?
The minor victory. 1 point? Minor victory is at least 1 more victory point than the other.
Yeah.
And draws any other result.
I guess I'm looking at it going like, okay, what if everyone just scores minors?
I'm probably majoring this one.
Your list is built for this scenario.
Yeah.
Well, it depends what list he looks at.
Here's that.
I submitted this one. I submitted the one I submitted. It's not as good, but it'll be fun.
It's still manageable.
It's still Dale playing it.
It's still serviceable.
Well, I think I think this goes into what Pat's talking about trying to find a way for there to be differentiations between the people who are scoring. And so if the major victories are difficult to attain, if they're too easy, then everyone's going to get them. Not everyone, but the winner is going to get them. So, yeah.
So basically, the major victory comes in where like I talked to Jeff a lot at Bug Eater, and like, how'd you know? He's like, I fucking tabled him. Well, that's just a win. I mean, I won too. I didn't table him, but I won too. So,
yeah,
the major victory is in fact like you literally dominated and overrode your opponent to get that.
So let me put it to you this way, because of how the skew of the scoring works. Well, I guess it is useful to know which one is the 3 if you move up. But if you're going for major, you do want that 3. Okay. I was just wondering.
You want to know where the 3 is.
Right, how important it was to
find it out
which one.
early on.
Yeah.
And then like, okay, that's the 1. I don't need to worry about that. Or that's the 3. I need to double my enforces there. So I think, let's see. Oh, no, I did allow scouts and forward observers to deploy this normally, so.
Well, Dale's gonna know that turn 1.
Well, I mean, it depends upon who I'm facing against, what the table looks like.
It's fair. The table can make
Dale's not the only one with forward observers and scouts.
And
so
how
that's true too. Actually, that makes a big difference.
Goes,
You're right.
So. Yeah, no worries there. Okay, well, I mean, that'll be interesting. That'll be fun to play. A new scenario is always kind of a little bit exciting. So,
yeah, I'm not trying to cut it down. I think it'll work. I am interested to see how Dale's list performs in this scenario because I think it actually will do very well.
I like
as you said.
Yeah, I like the idea of hidden information too. So
I do like that as well.
Right. But keep in mind, you don't have to tell them, or you can look at it and lie to them too, I suppose. But there's my 3. Oh, that's just a 1. I guess I'll ignore that one.
So,
sorry, I shouldn't have told you that. Okay.
Does my intelligence officer that's in my list does he get a bonus to learning what's out there?
Well, he's not in your list because no one submitted one, and no.
You don't need it. You potentially don't even need it, Dale.
I'm just having some fun.
You'll be able to eliminate. You'll be able to figure it out and eliminate it pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm trying to throw up little smoke signals of what might be in my list. So.
Yeah. Well, I haven't said anything in your list. I'm just saying
anyone changes one at this point forward is facing a 10-point scenario to deduct, which is
objective-based scenarios do very well with your list. At least in my experience playing against it, that's something that I noticed about it. It is very well tuned. It's well tuned for a lot of things, but that's one thing it doesn't.
Well, speaking of one that may not work as well for Dale's list, this one is called Sector Defense. This is kind of new, but it's a twist on the Heartbreak Ridge that the WWPD had for a while back. And they have several different versions of this one, and all of them kind of get muddled and weird, and some they're attacker defender, which didn't make sense to me, so I kind of just cut to the chase and went to the whatever. So it's got your sectors, which you do in sectors, which is you cordon off the board. You've got the 4 quarters, and you choose which whoever chooses one side, and then there's an objective that you place in the center of the board. And there's an objective that you place in each table quarter that you control at least 12 inches from the table edge. And I upped this from what the normal one was because they just had 6 inches. I'm like, no, that's not deep enough. Mm-hmm. Right? That's what she said. So, and you deploy your forces in those quarters, and the reinforcements can come in from any long table edge. There's no reserves are not allowed to outflank, and no units can forward deploy in this one. Okay? So you've got 3 objectives. The one in your sector is worth nothing to you. The one in the middle is worth a point, but the one in your opponent's sector is worth 2 points. So basically you have to defend yours and then take the other 2 to get the 3 victory points to the major victory. right?
I'm going to have to read the scenario in great depth because I'm not understanding it. But
it's basically, so you've got, there's the two sectors, you're diagonal from each other. Okay.
Yep. Okay, so that's standard. Yep.
One point objective in the center of the table. You can't deploy within 12 inches of that, but you have to deploy half your force in your sector.
Okay.
No outflanking, no forward deploying. Reserves can come in normally on your long table edge.
Okay. Oh, it's that's okay. All right.
Okay. But you basically have to take that 2-point, because to you in the enemy sector is a 2-point victory. And you also have to take the 1-point victory and not let yours be taken.
Okay.
To get the major victory.
How do artillery spotters get deployed in this?
No advanced deployment.
No advanced deployment. They have to walk on.
Okay, but do they get to share the order dice with their team then, or you got to order dice to get them on and then order dice to get my artillery piece on?
Okay, so
they move on together, right?
So if they come on in reserve, so if you deploy them normally, if there's normal deployment, so they can be deployed normally with your artillery piece in your sector.
Okay.
If they come on in reserve, they come on with the shared order dice rule, which means they can walk on at different points on the board, but they have to come on the long table edge.
Okay.
If they're in reserve.
Any long table edge or the one on your side?
Your long table edge.
Very good.
Yep.
Right. So your heavy mortar can walk on your quadrant, and the other one can walk on further away, but it's the shared order dice, right?
Yep. When coming in for reserve, the spotter has the shared order dice with the unit they're affiliated with, which means the artillery unit can move on. It's 6 inches, 12 inches if they're just a team, if it's like a mortar team.
Yep.
6 inches if they're artillery. And the spotter can do his infantry move of 6 to 12, run, advance, whatever it is, from some other point.
How does that work with the toe? You can't do it with the toe.
Sure you can.
You can, but the spotter is not part of it. Well, you can put the spotter in the toe if you want to.
You could, but you could just move the mortar.
Yeah, you just issue.
Okay, you move the transport, then you move the mortar out, and when you move the mortar out, you would move the spotter on. Yeah, okay. Right. Whenever you issue the order dice to the mortar, or
when coming on the board, they have the shared order dice. That special rule.
Yep.
Yeah, because I guess they're technically not on the board if they're inside the artillery or inside of a vehicle still, or being towed by a vehicle for that matter. Okay, makes sense.
So this was just a slight tweak from Heartbreak Ridge, but I moved the objectives up further.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And again, both players are doing the prepared bombardment. They just get it. There's no rolling for it. They just get it.
I think you need to change the language in there so that we know that it's like automatic preparatory bombardment. Because both players roll a preparatory bombardment could still
It's just
I still roll a d6.
Right. You just need to make sure they understand it. It means it's
automatic.
You're automatic.
It's automatic. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. It's just the language could I could see maybe not a rookie, but maybe someone that's played a lot of preparatory bombardment could still read that as I'm rolling a preparatory bombardment at the beginning of the game.
You can solve that really quick by just letting people know that's what you mean at the start of the
turn. Yeah. That's all you need to do. Yep.
And I think
both
these
players get the preparatory bombardment. Period.
Yep. Yeah.
Automatic.
Yes.
Yeah.
See page 130.
Automatically. Yep.
Automatically get it. Yep. However you want to, you can just say it at the tournament for sure.
Yep.
Something just to keep in mind.
And that's good because no matter what you write, no one's going to read it. I think we've established that people don't read. People don't read packets.
100%.
Yeah, half the players that play these scenarios will mess up preparatory bombardment.
At least.
So.
Cool. No, 100% of the people won't read this at all.
No, I've read it.
Yeah. We're already beating you.
96%. I'm assuming 100 people listen. So
yeah, this one is a little bit trickier for my list, but
the envelopment.
No, the sector defense.
Sectors one. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's because it nerfs your.
Do you have a transport?
Yeah, I do have a transport.
Now he does.
Which I can't outflank with.
Nope.
So.
Nope. Gonna have to beep that thing out of the board.
Beep beep your Jeep.
Gonna have to slog.
It's a truck.
Or a truck, but yeah.
So and then we've got a very standard envelopment scenario. The only change to this is the bombardment happens. Preparatory bombardment happens for both for the attacker. Sorry, this is the other attacker defender scenario.
Yeah.
And this is straight out of the book. The only difference is the major victory condition is 5 more victory points than the other.
Sure.
The book victory is just victory at 2 points. So, again, tough.
Moving across.
Is this one better or worse than you're surrounded for, Jeff?
Way better. Way better.
Way better, for sure.
All right, then we won't play it. What?
Oh, you're making it hard on Jeff.
For fuck's sake.
But this isn't an attacker-defender scenario, so...
It is actually an attacker. That's double. This is not double envelopment. This is
absolutely
envelopment,
is.
so it
This
is an
is
attacker-defender.
Oh, there it is. Attacker or defender. Very good. Okay.
Yep. So this is a great one to start with, Pat, because it's kind of a no-brainer. It's a much simpler. Like, I'm just throwing that out there. Like, it feels less confusing than some of the other scenarios. Just if you want to ease into the first game of the day. Just saying. No, I'm joking. I don't care. But there's nothing special about that one. Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Let's roll.
There's nothing special about the last 20 years. Just straight up meeting engagement with a major victory condition of, again, at least 5 more victory points than the other.
That's a tall order in a straight kill dice scenario for sure. But it is very distinctly possible.
It's supposed to be.
No, I know. I get it.
Yeah. This is also just, this is one that everyone's always played, so it's a very familiar. So.
Yep.
Might be good either. I know that the first and the last scenarios in three game tournaments are like, the first one's like, I'm here, I'm awake, I made it, whoo, that was half the battle, how much coffee have I had, how much do I need to pee, it's like, what am I going to play now? Or by the game 3 is just like, Jesus, I haven't played this much bolt action in fucking 2 years, what the hell?
Well, there's that too.
And now you're going to throw a brain musher of confused deployment on me, I can't figure this shit out. So it might, So those are the 5 potential scenarios. 3 of them will in fact be played. 0% of the people will be happy about which ones I pick and when I do them. But
can I change my goal for your tournament now? My new goal for your tournament is not get clubbed like a baby seal, because there's going to be a lot of people getting clubbed like baby seals at this. Because with the impetus for those major victories, people are going to play for. Oh man. I'm sorry for you new people out there. You're going to get your ass clubbed.
Well, the other thing I'm going to mention is that, you know what? If, honestly speaking, I don't think I will see 3 major victories out of this.
Oh, I do.
Oh,
I do.
Yeah?
I'd have to look at the lists, but...
Oh, I do. I think you're going to see over... In fact, we can make some predictions on here. I think over the course of this tournament, with how many players is it again?
24.
24 players playing 3 rounds with these scenarios, you will see 16 major victories.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah. That's probably... If half of the field is rookie...
You will see 16 major victories.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to go a step further. There will be 2 players that have at least 2 major victories.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see. I'd have to know who the players were, what they were bringing, their lists, and
yeah,
I need
to
more,
be fair, I guess
need more info to handicap.
Yeah, because all those bolt action rookies could be 40K veterans, right? That doesn't mean they're rookies to miniature gaming, so that's really hard.
We've got at least 2 guys that are coming from North Dakota. I've got 1 guy coming from Rochester.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Very good.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, 24 players, awesome. I mean,
yeah,
that's well done.
I don't even think we have 24 for Operation SNAFU yet. So,
last I checked, we had 16 signed up for Operation SNAFU. We had 10 signed up for Recon Rumble. So I think that puts at least 10 for the default for your tank thing, Rick, whatever
Sweet.
it is you're doing with that.
Yeah, I got to work on that some more.
Maybe get some more details after the break.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to give you more details now? Oh, that's right.
Oh, God.
Oh, man, watch out.
all right. So,
And, Pat, that's not meant as a slight to the scenario writing. I just think you're underestimating the amount of seal clubbing that's going to happen. That's not about a scenario thing. Like, I complained earlier because I thought that major victory was big, but in retrospect, it'll happen a lot. Because it's a cascade effect. Once somebody gets put on the back foot, like in turn 3 or 4, people just get wrecked. Like
especially if somebody's trying to gamble.
Somebody's Nebelwerfer gets hot, or double Nebelwerfer gets hot.
Well, Rick's done with a Nebelwerfer, so...
Yes!
No, that's not true.
Yeah, that's not going to be true. That's not going to be true.
I mean, and also because preparatory bombardments are going to go off for everybody every game.
Yep.
That could actually steamroll, or that could really kick momentum in one direction, depending upon...
guys, I've seen that happen, and it comes down to choosing what you put out there and mitigating that.
And that's a good choice. I like that.
It's really nothing more than just a round 1 rally that doesn't happen. honestly.
Unless the guy's British, right? Don't the British get extra
So
punch?
they get to roll 2 dice and roll the higher and select the higher of the 2, and is
that for
there are
preparatory
2 British
bombardment?
players.
Yeah. They get that bonus on preparatory bombardment?
Yeah, so they get to roll 2 dice and they choose the higher of their 2 results, and there are 2 British players in the tournament.
Yep.
Well,
none of them took the Naval Observer.
Thank the Lord Almighty.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, there is one U.S. player that does have it that did find the British Observer in his list. He's also not a Naval Observer, just a straight British artillery observer.
Oh, but you found the British one. Okay. So did you get the British rules then?
He does not.
Okay. Well, who gives them?
Yeah, right.
Oh, except they can't. Yeah, because the U.S. don't typically get the artillery observer, do they?
They do not.
Or do they?
Not for free.
Not for free.
Well, not for free. No, of course.
I mean,
But there's a selector in Market Garden that allows you to take.
Allows you to get a free one,
which is big.
Yep.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'm
okay.
excited.
I'm excited. This is.
I'm going to roll dice.
Yep. I'm going to roll dice.
And
I would anticipate that will be at tops 6 people who will do major objectives through all 3 games. It will come down to the secondary objectives.
Yeah,
and I will give the rookies those because, hell yeah.
Give them a shot.
Yep.
Whatever. They'll be fine.
It's going to be fun regardless.
Yeah. Familiarity will be good.
At the end of the day, this is going to be fun. But I'm trying to think I'm trying to think of my list because I can hide almost all of my units that could get killed in a preparatory bombardment, but not all of them. Not all of them.
Well, but you don't need to have them all out. I think a lot of people really underestimate the reserves.
Yeah, but don't most of these say I have to put at least half my unit out?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if I put half my units out, I'm going to have to put something that can get killed by that. It's 1,000 points, right?
Yeah.
I mean, small teams can get jacked by it. Your lieutenant can get jacked.
They can.
By it. Vehicles can get jacked by
it. They can be forced with the morale check. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean they can take a direct hit.
It's only one model.
Yeah,
though.
it's just a single hit.
Yeah, but still,
single
1 out of
strength.
2 forces the morale check.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you could still fail a morale check.
Yep.
Well, I mean,
it'll be interesting.
Well, I mean
it's the breaks with the preparatory.
It's likely to happen to
just
somebody once, at least once over the course of. I mean, that's a lot of players.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess still developing my FUBAR bag for you guys to run around and deal with shit. So
it's all good.
What's your FUBAR bag? What does that even mean?
So I still have a couple of. I've been sent by John Russell sent me still some of their old miscast stuff.
Nice.
Just here, throw a tank at Jeff.
Well, what else is more FUBAR than just something didn't work out in resin, right?
Yeah.
So I still think I got about 5 or 6 or 7 of those things. So
I was going to say, I'm like,
no, actually, because we I don't can we say that I got to raid that at Adepticon one year?
Yeah.
So I got to raid that side bin one time, and I grabbed 2 vehicles, and all I had to do was 3D print a couple extra parts, and they work great. They're in a few of my
there you go. Sweet.
Yeah.
Like there was a what's that British tow that looks like a pug? Usually tows a 25-pound. All I did was print tires for it in the top hatch.
Is that the CW something or other?
No, it's the Morris Quad.
the Morris Quad. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. I just had to 3D print some tires for it and put a hatch on the top, and it was good to go.
Nice.
Yeah, they also make great terrain pieces, and so we've got again. We mentioned the rookies who are just in the last year into this and the whole pandemic thing. And I just got a shipping notification from John Russell that he has sent me some special treats for those younger guys who are those newer players that have joined the ranks.
Nice.
And I was talking to John. I said, "You know what? Giving one guy a sprue really doesn't help them." He's like, "No. Giving 2 sprues gives them a squad. Let's see what we can do." Like, there we go. So for their next army, they might have those newer guys might have something coming their way. So,
nice.
That's
cool.
And
That's
everybody, from what I have from prize support that I've pulled from various sources, leaning in the SNAFU podcast name as we were, everybody's leaving with something.
Nice.
That's all there is to it.
Woo.
So you signed up for $15, I guarantee you get more than $15 of stuff. So
And for the
even
new
you
guys,
three.
yeah, I mean, and for the new guys that are coming, that's awesome. Thanks. We really appreciate you guys because, I mean, as much as we enjoy playing with each other, this whole Yank team sounds exciting. The whole point is that you know what? I mean, 24 people at the tournament. It's going to be sweet. If half the guys are new, then we're going to bust our ass almost as much as Pat to make sure that you guys are having a good time, having good games. Because we want you to keep playing. So
absolutely,
we love it. So, and thanks for coming, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, 100%. Kumbaya. Okay.
Wow.
Well, it's a Yank Fest, right? I mean,
sure.
All right. Do you want to keep going? I want to stop here.
Oh, we're an hour and a half in. Jesus.
All right. Well, why don't we take a break and we'll recap and clank on a tank later.
I think so.
Sounds like a good idea.
Works for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're going to take a short break.
The music will probably be on repeat because I got too lazy to find new stuff.
Oh shit! If you have a list, I could find something, but I don't know if we have a list of all of the music.
Could we just use like 60 seconds of Nebelwerfer's firing as our music at some point? Because that'd be
I can find 66 of Katusha's firing.
That's not as fun, but okay.
Right.
I mean, it's almost the same thing, right?
It's pretty similar.
All right, we'll be back in a minute.
All right, sounds good.
I got to listen to this thing.
D-E-F-G-H, I got a gal. Where? In Kalamazoo. Kalamazoo. I don't want to boast, but I know she's a toast of Kalamazoo. Zoo, 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 zoo. Years have gone by. My, how she grew. Man, did she grew. I liked her looks when I carried her books in Kalamazoo. Zoo, 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 zoo. I'm gonna send a wire, hopping on a flyer, leaving today. Am I dreaming? I can hear her screaming. Hiya, Mr. Jackson. Everything's okay. A-L-A-M-A-Z. Oh, what a gal, a real pipperoo. She's a fine chick. I'm gonna make my bid for the freckle-faced kid I'm hurrying to. Going to Michigan to see the sweetest gal in Kalamazoo.
All right, welcome back. Hope you like the music. I know I did. It was a really long song, though.
I was going to look it up, but I forgot. It was something.
Yeah, it's a song, right?
It is music, yes.
Oh no! Wait. Did we? I thought we were deciding.
I've got a gal. I've got a gal. No, I've got a gal in Kalamazoo.
Okay. Isn't that in? Where is that? Is it in Montana?
It's Kalamazoo, Michigan.
No,
I'm thinking the other side. Sorry. What am I? I'm thinking Bozeman. I think.
Bozeman's in Montana. Yeah.
Bozeman's in Montana. I'm just thinking. I don't know why I was thinking Kalamazoo. All right. Sorry, all you Michigan people. I offended someone in the United States. My bad.
Well, we're bound to get to that.
I mean, I probably haven't gotten to the state level yet, but yeah, I mean, it's inevitable.
Well, when you start getting to county level, annoying,
And then we're just being try-hards. Come on.
Yeah, then we're trying too hard, for sure. You're right. All right. Well, welcome back. Hope you liked it again. We're going to talk about tanks, more specifically, light tanks.
Light tanks.
Light tanks. Not tanks made out of light, though.
Right. Ooh,
what?
That's probably in K-47.
No, they have light tank. Yeah, well, there isn't a light tank.
They got those Tesla gun things.
There's a Panzer. There's a Panzer with a night light on it, isn't there? An infrared light on it.
Yeah.
The night Jager or whatever, however you say that. I'm sorry, guys. There's at least one.
That's probably closer than we have been.
It's close.
Not wrong.
I'm probably close. It's the only thing I'm like, I know that word because I've drank the drink before. Close enough. Yes. So yeah, we're going to go through some of the light tanks for some of the bigger countries and see how they hold up. I think we all picked one, or we didn't pick one.
Well,
Pat assigned us one.
To caveat this just a little bit is, in usually a 1,000-point game, the medium heavy tanks are pretty rare, and the light tanks for point wise. And I also tell these guys that stick with light tanks, so the 8+ and less than 160 points, because that's something that you can reasonably fit into a 1,000-point list. That, and we'll see which ones kind of have some bang for the buck. And Jeff has some good play tips on how to best use these. You might just be finding out about this.
No, don't oversell me, but yeah, I got some tips.
I mean, most often than not, this is where I would, if I'm going to put something in the tank slot, which sometimes I just omit altogether, this would be what I would go for. Something you got to find something that's relatively inexpensive. Mm-hmm. Although I think Jeff is starting to sell me on the Flame Hetzer, not Hertzer. Right?
It does hurt. Yeah, I was going to say
yes, the Flame Herder. Yes, it does hurt. I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but this seems to be where. Well, to Dale's army, he's got things that are not even tanks in his slots typically for Soviet army. But I think we're making you pick tanks, Dale. Correct?
Yeah, tracked vehicles.
We're doing tracked vehicles. I might be cheating a little bit.
Well, I limited myself to tracked vehicles.
So for it to be an actual tank, it has to have a turret and tracks.
I stuck with actual light tanks. So.
Well, damn it! Now I'm going to have to clear half my list out.
You down to 2?
I down to 2. No, there's a couple.
Okay.
Not that many, I guess.
All right, let's jump into it.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, so we should start with Dale, since his is only 4 long. I might have cheated a little bit, but that's okay.
Well, I limited myself because I do not favor tanks. Period.
Fair.
So, but I do agree with what you guys were saying in regards to if you're going to include a tank, you probably don't want to spend 400 points on it, or in my opinion, even 250 points on it. But I think in the past we've talked about why I feel, at least I've talked about why I feel that way. But for this one, like Pat said, we limited ourselves to 8 or less armor and 160 points or less. So I drew the Japanese baton and went through the list, and it didn't take me too long, but I'll be honest, I hadn't looked at this list in a really long time because I don't run tanks. But
so
my feelings...
Do you run tanks or not?
No. My feelings about why they're not necessary is because typically if you've included a tank, it's got a medium anti-tank gun on it. So that's one, in the event that you're able to activate it with a fire or assault order, you've got that one dice roll to hit whatever you're aiming at, hopefully another tank. And so if you miss, that feels like, that 200 plus points didn't really activate or do very much for you in that particular turn. And I find that efficiency as far as points and activations and impact on a squad level infantry game is better served with infantry. So if you're going to, in my opinion, bring a tank, it should be really good against infantry. So my first tank that I've selected was the Ho-Ni tank destroyer. I like this because it's only 120 points. It's 7+. It is open-topped, which makes it rough. But at 120 points, it might not be too terrible. It has a medium anti-tank gun on it, so it's a 5+, firing in the front arc. But it's versatile, which means it can also fire as a light howitzer. So, a 7+ tank, technically open-topped, which is a significant deal. So I'm not going to minimize that. They can fire at a +5 anti-tank or as a light howitzer, which is a 2-inch HE. For 120 points, Yeah, I mean, that's a squad with a couple of extras in it. That's not too bad. I like that one.
Yeah.
The next one is the 7-Up open top, same chassis as the Ho-Ro. It's an open top, but has a heavy howitzer. 155 points, which is quite a bit for a heavy howitzer. But I mean,
mobile heavy howitzer.
Mobile armored heavy armor. Yeah,
well, I mean,
it's not super armored, but
it is mobile. But it's and maybe Jeff, when he starts talking about his tips or things like that, with open topped vehicles, you kind of have to be a little bit more careful. And so this, and at 155 points, that's not. To me, that's a lot of points. So that's a veteran squad, effectively. And so you want to be careful with this one. But the heavy howitzer can just change the game. Period.
That's some work.
Right. So it's if you're less trying to squeeze everything out of your list and more of a gambler, so to speak, know when to hold them, know when to fold them type. This might be something that you would be interested in. The next one I have was actually designated as a light tank by the Japanese, the Type 95 Ha-Go. At 90 points regular, and all of these are regular, 90 points regular, it has a turret-mounted low-velocity anti-tank gun, so it's just a +3. And you also have a forward-facing MMG and a rear-facing MMG on it. So it can kind of do a lot for 90 points, actually. This one isn't open top, so it can kind of tool around and pretty much kind of get stuck in and give your opponent some fits. And at 90 points, I mean, in every list, unless you're really trying to optimize here, I like to encourage folks to try to include one or two just kind of fun choices that might be a little bit outside of their comfort zone. And something like this can kind of move around, and you got 10 shots going in a couple of different directions. And because you've got a rear-facing MMG, then your positioning can kind of, you can kind of do little tricksy things with it, and it might give you an opportunity to, I don't know, stretch your play skill or stuff like that. But at 90 points, if it does fuck all, well, that's not a terrible investment, which is why I think light tanks are better overall. Mm-hmm. And the last one I've got is the Key-New light tank. It's another 7+. This one just has a straight light howitzer on it at regular 115 points. So a light howitzer in the turret, and then a turret, that same turret obviously, has a rear-facing MMG.
Yeah.
And then you also have a forward-facing hold-mounted MMG.
Yep, that little three machine guns is nice.
Yeah. Well, no, it's 2 machine guns and a light howitzer.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
And
actually, I mean, machine gun though, right?
Weapon
similar enough, yeah.
I mean, we all know how it feels when we roll that 6 on that medium mortar on that first shot, and how that kind of switches it. Well, this is the same 2-inch HE on a howitzer, so it's direct. Well, yeah, howitzers can fire direct, can't they?
Direct
sure,
and,
yeah.
indirect,
Yes. And so, I mean, throwing in an MMG too, so you're splitting fire at 115 points regular. This one is not open topped. This might be probably my favorite light tank in the list altogether, because I mean, it's not going to do anything against other tanks, but okay, that's fine. I mean, I'm never going to be too fussed about that, because that tank with its big weapon can only activate.
Japanese have other anti-tank options that don't need to be a tank slot.
Right, and so and that's I guess that does go a lot into the effectiveness of any particular choice with what's built in around it. But just for points, efficiency, and availability, those are fantastic. And there was a book that was released not too long ago that also provided the Stuart. The machine gun Stuart is available as a Japanese choice, as a captured choice. So I mean, that's my number 5 on this is my 4 tank list. So, but I'm assuming if someone is going to cover the U.S. that they'll talk about that one. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I think when we began, we were kind of bagging on the Japanese. Oh, they don't have any good tanks because they didn't have any good tanks and face-to-face, up-front tank warfare. I mean, that just wasn't their style of play.
Well, they didn't have a lot of massive open grounds and fields to close distances in. It was all bunchy jungle fighting for the most part.
Yeah, and maybe, I mean, that first army that we got, it came with a tank. I think it was a Chiha that came in my box, and I painted it up, and I'm like, all right, and started using it, and it just wasn't doing very much for me, but thankfully mine was cheaper than everybody else's, so I didn't feel so bad. But then that kind of started me down the road of, well, I mean, this is 200 points here that isn't doing much. I'd rather have 20 guys out there. But these are ones that, less than 160 points with some variability in them, and each one of these is effective against infantry, which
is good in an infantry game.
Right. Till we're done with this, which isn't going to be any time. I'll always say, hey, because you never want to be in a situation where, well, here, I'm not doing anything with this guy. So, yeah. Those are my choices. So,
all decent choices too.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
very solid.
Yeah. All right. Who's on British? So you, Pat?
I've played a British or two in my day, and I will say that the majority of their light tanks come from the U.S.
Shocked.
They do have a couple in there that some people may have overlooked. The first one I'm going to bring up is the light tank Mark 8 Tetrarch. This was historically an airborne tank. They dropped them, put them in gliders and stuff, and they went with the Special Air Services and Special Forces and all those guys. So this one, regular, 105 points. That's the only veterancy you can take it at. That's not inexperienced or a veteran choice. It is only 7+, so technically an armored car, but it's still a tank. It's got a turret-mounted 2-pounder anti-tank gun and a coaxial MMG. No hull-mounted, and spoiler alert, most of the British light tanks didn't have a hull-mounted. I don't know why they didn't think of that or whatnot, but you can, at no point cost, you can change that 2-pounder out to a 3-inch light howitzer, which is cool. For 15 points, you can take the light anti-tank gun and make it the Little John adapter, which this is kind of a little slick. So what the Little John adapter does is the light tank is a +4 pen, and it ups it to a +5 pen. However, if you roll a 1, you broke the thing, and the crew must spend a whole turn outside the tank fixing it before they can use it again. And after they fix it, it's still down to a +4 pen, but it's still kind of fun.
Does it count as open topped while they're outside of it?
I would imagine.
It doesn't say that in the rule, though?
It doesn't say that specifically.
Oh, okay.
I think it's one of those grayed out boxes. I was searching for it for a second here. I didn't find it, but yeah,
that's hilarious.
But for 105 points and you got a +5 pen on that, that's
a beast.
That's good. That's a good tank hunter, in my opinion.
Yeah. And if you've ever seen the model, the thing is dinky. You're going to find cover everywhere.
Well, I wonder if that has to do with maybe only had 2 guys in the tank, so you had a driver and a gunner and no machine gunner in the hull?
Possibly. But
is that possible?
It's possible. And then so that was just a little fun one. And again, if you're running some airborne or if you're running the commandos and stuff like that, this was their tank. They packed. I mean, they're so tall. They're small. It's not much larger than a Jeep, basically. But it is fully enclosed. It is only 7+. But yeah, they pack those in gliders and stuff like that. So that's a pretty fun little choice. And then next they get into their cruiser tanks. The A9s and A10s were pretty good. These were primarily North Africa tanks, so still very early war. So the A9 cruiser, Mark 1 and 1 CS. By the way, if you're ever in the British book and you see CS, that means it's a close support, and it means it has a howitzer instead of an anti-tank gun. Mm-hmm. So 125 points regular. It has a turret-mounted light anti-tank gun, coaxial MMG, forward-facing auxiliary turrets with 1 MMG, 1 on the left, 1 on the right. So you got three turrets on this little guy at a 7+. For 125 points, that's not so bad.
Mm-hmm. It has no negative rules for that?
Nope.
No too many turrets, or?
Nope. They had enough guys for the turrets, apparently. And you can also replace the AT gun with a light howitzer at no cost, making it the close support vehicle.
Nice. Light howitzer and 2 MMGs. That's solid. Super
Yeah,
solid.
2 MGs, one right, one left turret. So you got front and right and front and left with the turrets.
Yeah, but I mean, both can fire to the front, which is kind of what you're
really
looking
matters.
for. Yeah,
Yep.
that's nice. I like that.
Not any weird ones. Yeah.
How many points for that?
Yeah, how many points was that?
125 regular. You can also take 100 inexperienced, which you would, but no veteran availability.
No, that's good for 125. I like it.
Yeah, I agree.
Again, it's a little paper mache at 7+, but you know, it's doing what it does. I mean, the Stuarts is rough to the sides anyway. This room to construction, so. And then we've got the A10, another early war. Same 125 points. This has got a turret-mounted light anti-tank coaxial MMG, and you can add a hull-mounted MMG for 10 points. So 135 to get the hull-mounted MMG. It's up to an 8+, and of course it's got a close support option for 10 points. Let's see, so you can replace the AT gun with a light howitzer, and the forward-facing hull MMG for 10 points. So you got to take the hull. Boo! I wouldn't like that. Don't take the hull MMG out. That's not good. But 125 points. It's into the 8+ range, so it's got a little more defensibility to it. And they finally got, for 135 points to get that hull mounted on there. So it's okay. Again, I'd look more in the U.S. book or look in their U.S. tanks and British service section. It's got a lot better light tank options. And then we've got the Cruiser Mark 6 Crusader. This is a nice one. This, again, was more Desert War stuff. 135 points regular to get a turret-mounted light anti-tank gun, coaxial MMG, auxiliary turret with single MMG covering the forward arc, and you can replace the anti and then a close support option for light howitzer at 8+. So it's a 2-turret tank.
Okay.
Yeah.
British like extra turrets for some reason.
They take a little bit to figure it. I think they finally got the American tanks before the rails. They could put one in the hull too.
You just stick it in the armor?
So you just cut that hole out and you put a gun through. That's fucking clever.
Just so we pointed at the right thing? Okay.
Right.
Easy enough. I'm not even going to try British accents.
That was terrible. I apologize.
Yeah, kind of pretty bad, but it's okay.
Thanks. So those are the couple that are the actual British tanks that have some merit in light. I mean, otherwise, you get into medium and just grab the Cromwell, because Cromwell's freaking awesome.
Well, that's a different podcast, though.
Yeah.
That'll be a different episode. We'll talk about medium tanks and my love for Cromwells and the fact that I have 5 of them.
And then we'll get into heavy tanks and be like, just no, don't do it.
Just no.
But if you have to.
Maybe if we ever stray into an episode for Korea again, we can talk about heavier tanks.
Sure. I mean, I guess the Germans have a bunch of heavier tanks, but hey.
Well, they weren't in Korea, though. So.
No, they were definitely not in Korea, for sure.
Very few German units in Korea that were fighting.
That's probably for the better.
Right. Not Soviets, but anyway.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's the couple of nuggets I dug out of there in the light tanks that were actually just British tanks.
No. Right. So you didn't steal the U.S.'s thunder?
I did not grab the Chaffee, no.
Or any of the other ones.
Everyone knows the M3 Stuart. Come on, we don't need to talk about that one. Everyone knows
well,
about that.
I love talking about that one though because it's a workhorse. But anyway, let's talk about the U.S. ones, Jeff.
Sure. I'm only going to pick 2 because it's an early war light tank and a late war light tank, and they're the 2 best light tanks in the U.S. list by far. And that's start with the early war Stuart. And if you take the basic M3 model, that's the one that's festooned with machine guns.
Which wasn't that actually first done by the Soviets when they got it in Lend-Lease? Were they the ones known for just popping all those guns in there?
Yeah. Well, again,
it's a very Soviet thing.
Yeah.
They just let the guys stand on top. They just riveted the dudes to the side of the tank.
The original tank riders.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. This is one of those things that works really good in bolt action, but not as well historically. But that's just kind of how it is.
Yeah.
So, quick breakdown for anyone not familiar with this. Basic M3 Stuart tank, regulars 115 points. Comes with a turret-mounted light anti-tank gun and a coaxial MMG, and 1 forward-facing hull-mounted MMG. So that's fairly standard in a light tank chassis.
Yep, correct.
Now, options as they existed previously is you could add Recce for 10 points. You could add a Pinto-mounted MMG, whatever, but then you can add two hull-mounted forward-facing LMGs for 15 points total, which is ridiculous.
Right. And those LMGs and the hull-mounted MMG must fire at the same target in the front arc.
Oh no!
The hull,
as per the FAQ.
Oh, yeah. The hull all shoots at its own thing. Whatever.
Yep.
Watch out.
So that's what, 8 and 5, 13 shots.
13 shots.
Yep.
Pretty impressive. And then you throw the coaxial if you want to really make sure something dies.
Yep.
If it's the last dice in the turn.
Do they also have? They also have a pintle mounted option too.
You can pick a pintle as well. Yep.
If you like open top.
And if you really feel saucy, you can shoot the light autocannon at the same thing. Or is it a light autocannon? Is that what it is?
Light anti-tank gun.
Anti-tank, but that's going to take away the coaxial MMG.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You can only have one or the other. That's right.
Yep. But still a very solid light tank.
Oh, yeah.
It is. It's a beast.
Thin sides.
Vulnerable.
Sides, yeah.
Okay, vulnerable.
Riveted construction, so if you get shot in the side or rear, it's +1.
That was just nuts. No bueno. Just don't point your ass at something, okay?
Yeah, front towards enemy.
Which does not mean... So it starts at armor 8, and the vulnerable doesn't bring it down to 6, so pistol can't penetrate it. It means a heavy weapon gets a +2 on that side shot. So don't try and think that also the pistol can take out a Stuart on the side, because that doesn't happen.
No, that does not happen.
Still has to have a pen value to hit it.
That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
It has to be a heavy weapon, because that's the only one that has pen modifiers.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
All right. There's a couple variations of Stuart out there, but I think that one that's festooned with machine guns is the one you're most likely to see.
The flamethrower one's pretty good too.
They make a turreted flamethrower version, which is probably the other one you will see because that's
Satan.
Is that the Satan?
That is the Satan. Very that one's very good if you want a flame tank in the U.S. list.
For the cost, for sure. Yeah.
For the cost, yeah. I usually go a little heavier, but we'll talk about medium tanks in another day.
Yep.
Because medium, by their nature, flame tanks have to get in close and personal to use the gun, so you can't always use cover as much as you'd like to with them. So I like a little heavier tank. But anyway, that's a digression for another time. Late war, I struggle to find a better light tank in the game than the M24 Chaffee. It's part of that is because it's so late war. I mean, this thing served through Korea. It's a fantastic platform. Okay, regular 150 points. Excuse me. You could take it veteran at 190, and the reason you might is because it has a gyro-stabilized, turret-mounted, medium anti-tank gun with a coaxial MMG, and then a forward-facing hull-mounted MMG.
And that was the 5+ with a 2-inch HE on it too, right?
That is the 2-inch HE gun.
Solid.
It's not a Puma.
It is it's not a Puma.
It's better than a Puma, but it's
got the better
the same
HE.
price. Yeah,
it's got the better HE.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
And you absolutely should spend the extra 10 points to give it recce at 160 points.
Oh, yeah.
At regular. Absolutely give it recce.
Yeah.
It's a fairly tiny frame, so you'll be able to use cover pretty effectively with it. That 2-inch HE out of the 75 means if you have an opposing tank, you shoot tank. And if the other guy doesn't bring a tank, so 2-inch HE is nothing to sneeze at. That's a very solid anti-personnel weapon.
Yep. Totally agree.
It has that solid, it's got the combo, so it still has that hull MMG, which gets phased out after tank models after the end of World War II. But boy, it's pretty solid here. So, but yeah, I think this. It does have vulnerable. It's still riveted, but again, it's a light tank with recce. You shouldn't be taking side shots. Like if you get a side shot on this, you did something wrong. So, but this one's just all around, arguably the best light tank in the game. So.
Side note on your M3 Stuart, the British variants of it don't have the recce option. They do have a recce variant, but it means they took the turret off, and it just gets all kinds of stupid.
That sounds like that sounds like a bad idea all up and down.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Don't do that.
The Soviets get the M3 Stuart with all its bristled guns and the normal recce, but yeah.
Well, that's the Soviets.
Yeah, I don't know. British just like to take the tops off of things, I guess. I don't know.
Hey, it's a convertible.
Hi-oh.
Right? I was cooling down my tea.
Jeez.
Oh, Lord.
All right, okay.
So those are the Americans, and that's what I covered. So, Chaffee all the way if you can get one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty sweet. I do like the Stuart though too. This is so cheap for what it is.
Yeah.
I have 3 Stuarts for my British. I've got 2 for my American, and now I've got 1 for my Soviets. So
nice.
I like those kits are a pain in the butt, but I keep putting them together. They don't get any easier.
Yeah. They don't get any easier. I was going to have you.
The Italiari kits, man. Those.
I was going to schlep one over to you so you could put it together for me.
Yeah.
I think I actually have 2. I have 2 put together right now. I think I'm actually making the third one into a Satan. So just for variety, because I don't think I'll have 3 tanks in a list necessarily. But
I'm missing out. I don't own a single Stewart. So,
would you like one?
No.
All
Nope.
right. Okay. Do you want to talk Germans then? Let's go through some Germans because
you play Germans?
I did. I think I'll cover some German stuff in here.
Yeah.
This was not my cup of tea because when I played Germans, I typically brought something with Tiger Fear because Tiger Fear was good back in the day.
So you're dating yourself as when the last time you played Germans was?
It's a while ago.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I'm not sure if I played Germans much since the Tiger Fear nerf either. So
yeah, I mean, you and I play tested it once.
The first nerf, not the you haven't played the rebound version yet.
Yeah, no, we haven't played the new version because COVID happened. And
spoiler alert: Theaters of War. There are 2 tanks with Tiger Fear, two army lists with Tiger Fear in it. So we'll get a chance to see how that does. I'll be looking at it.
I will thoroughly not enjoy it. It's not going to be bad for me, but it's also not going to be fun to play with. It's kind of obnoxiously like. Now we're going to have to figure out what Tiger Fear is again.
Oh, maybe I have to switch the matchups to make sure you play them.
Damn it. Okay, whatever. It doesn't matter.
You did confirm that they understood which version of Tiger Fear they were playing with, correct?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually.
No, I told them their list was legal.
Okay.
You should send them. Here's the Tiger Fear rule you're playing with.
That's the latest FAQ. It was in the players pack.
Oh, it was in the players pack. Then it's fine. Whatever.
Yep.
You sent them a link to it. Yep. It's they got to go read that. Although they should probably have known that by now. I'm sure. I'm sure they know.
We'll see.
Who knows? We'll find out. All right. So I'll start at the top. Panzer. So there's a bunch of them here, but I'm just go through a couple of the ones like just you guys have been doing too. So the Panzer 1 is A+. Oh, my screen just flickered. An A+ for 70 points, has 2 MMG, 2 turret-mounted MMGs. You can also replace it with an autocannon. I don't hate it for 70 points at 2 MMGs. It's kind of it's almost better than the motorcycle machine gun for what it is then.
At A+?
What's that, an A+? Yeah, it's an A+ turret-mounted, 2 turret-mounted MMGs.
Is that inexperienced or regular?
Regular.
Panzer 1 is tiny.
It is, and it's small.
It is
so
tiny.
I like that.
Yeah, I don't hate it for that point cost. Like, it's not going to be killing any other tanks, obviously, but it is good infantry support, and it's a little bit of a nut to crack for sure. We're going to just skip over a couple of these other ones. The Panzer II is boring. I don't think there was any good variants of it. I think they all come with autocannons, so not super exciting. Or is there one in there, Jeff? You know.
Well, the Panzer II, I'm going to just throw a pitch for the Lukes. The Lynx, late war. It's an autocannon, but it's 8+ Recce for 100. You can get a veteran at 138. You can get it regular at 115.
I did not see the Recce on that. That actually makes it a little bit better. Yes,
yep.
I agree. For 115 regular, you get an autocannon that Recce's. That's not as bad.
Yeah,
I agree.
8+. It's a very much a stick and move kind of tank, but I'm a big fan.
Yep. Okay, so I don't know the difference between the Flame... Oh, actually, I do know the difference between the Flame Panzer. So the Flamingo, the Flame Panzer II, is 130 points regular. It has 2 flamethrowers, but we'll get to that in a second. It has a flamethrower covering the front arc and the left, or front and left, and the one covering the front right. You can only fire one. That's kind of the downer of it, but still
if one goes out, you get the other one.
Right. If you run out of fuel, you're not lost, right? So it's kind of cool like that. I think it's cool, but it does have internal volatile tanks, so it's got some bad side. But it's really basically if they start on fire, worse things happen. Isn't that what it is?
Yeah, it's only if you get the fire result on the tank.
Right.
On the tank,
which is 1 out of 6, which is number 3.
Big whoop.
I mean, it is what it is if that happens. For 130 points, you get a flamethrower tank, and you get a turret-mounted MMG as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't see anything to argue with that one.
Yeah, it's a good flame.
I like that one.
Yep.
Then the flame. We're not going to cover it. That one's too expensive.
It's an A+ too. I mean, so that's.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a solid little. Then we got the Panzer III. Again, most of them I think are. Let me see the top end of it. They're almost all. I guess they start going into medium anti-tank guns. They're started autocannons and work their way up to medium anti-tank guns. I think the G is an medium anti-tank gun. F is a light anti-tank gun. So you kind of work your way up the list there as well.
Mm-hmm.
A couple other fun ones. There's which one was it that I just had? The Panzer Sig 33 is I'm not super sold on this one. It's 7+ open top, has a forward-facing heavy howitzer. It's 155 points. It is tracked, but it is open topped, and it's.
I've used this in a tournament. I loved it, but it definitely got killed more than once.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the nice thing about a heavy howitzer is at least you can sit really far away from things. So someone is going to have to at least dedicate something to try and kill it if it was not killed by another tank or something, I guess. But
yep.
I mean,
it's got a relatively low profile for a tank too. So
is this one looks. I think this one looks like a giant box.
Yeah, it kind of does. Yeah. No, like you're thinking of the Bison. This one looks like. This one looks like if you took a Panzer II and you just cut it off about an inch above where the frame starts, above the tracks.
Yep.
And then slapped a heavy howitzer hanging out the front.
Okay. Yeah, that is exactly what it looks like. Yeah, it's just got like the gun shield on it. But
yep.
Yeah, it just feels weird. But, I mean, ingenuity, I guess, at that point. And I'm going to cheat because I think there's a couple ones that are worth looking at that are maybe not quite. They're half tracks, so they're half tanks. I guess I don't know.
Just from the rear back.
Well, right, because we love our Panzerwerfer. There's so many different versions of the basically the armored half track, doing all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah, they took the Molitor and slapped whatever weapon they could on the back of it.
Right, exactly. But that was the one that I was looking for. Is the SDK FZ71, which is 145 points for a. Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one because there's two versions of it. There's an armored cab and there's one that is an armored cab. This one, it's 175 points, but it gives you 4 quad autocannons on a platform. 7+. It's a beast. The other one is a little bit cheaper, which is only 3 autocannons. Or no, it's 4 autocannons, but 6+ armor instead. So I think it must be on a truck, even though it doesn't say it's on a truck.
Sweet.
It says it is a half track still. Yeah, quad autocannons is pretty nasty.
It's a 6-up armor though.
Yeah, the armored cab is the one
How many
to go
points?
for, but it's 145.
Is that the armored cab that they basically like poured concrete for the cab?
I don't know if it's that bad, but
I mean, I imagine it's whatever ingenuity again they use to make it work. But
yeah, I think that one they actually they lowered concrete slabs around the cab to make it the armored cab because that's what they had.
Right. I mean, if it's whatever they can do to make it work, but I
Which
like the quad
dropped its
auto
mobility to like next to nothing, but
yeah, well, I'm sure
it was basically a quote unquote mobile pillbox
with a giant flak machine behind it.
Yep.
And that's all I'll talk about the half tracks. Go look at them if you want to find them because there's some sweet ones in there.
I got a nugget for you, Rick.
Ooh, okay. I'm not doing nuggets tonight.
Right,
so yeah, what's the nugget?
This is out of campaign Fortress Budapest. This is, ironically enough, this is an Italian-built tank that basically the Germans just took. Because it's only available in the German reinforced platoon selector. It is not available in the Italian.
Because why would they give the Italians anything good?
This is the Palazzi M1542 tank, the PZKPFW M1542 738-1. This is a light tank at 8+, at 145 points regular. It has a turret-mounted light anti-tank gun with 2 coaxial MMGs and 2 hull-mounted MMGs.
Jeez.
It's Italian machine gun, so it does not get the Hitler buzzsaw, but 145 points and you got 4 MMGs, baby.
Yeah, I mean, you got to open up, right?
So,
okay.
Just want to throw that one in there, just in case no one else like me reads through all these books and finds weird stuff, because that's what I do for fun.
Can I throw in my favorite German light tank while we're here?
Yes.
I like the links, but I'm actually this one gives me a historical hard-on, which is the P-38T, which is actually a Czech tank the Germans took when they took control over. I'm trying to find a nice word for it. Took control over Czechoslovakia. It's a light tank, 135 points, turret-mounted light anti-tank gun, coaxial MG, and a forward-facing hull-mounted MMG, 8+ hull. It's a solid tank. This was one of the most numerous tanks when they invaded France. And if you want to, you can replace all weapons with a turret-mounted light automatic cannon and a coaxial MG for 30 less points for reconnaissance variant. So for 100 points, you get an 8+ tank with an autocannon. Not bad.
That's not bad. Yeah,
I like it.
So there we go.
And no downsides, no riveted hull or anything. So
right. that's the big thing. Is you get to 100-point tanks. Usually there's some usually not insurmountable problem, but there's usually something that causes them to be less than perfect.
Yep.
No, whatever. Flamethrower tanks are still fun.
They absolutely are.
Yeah.
Especially when you can get a cheap one. You're like, whatever, it's gone.
Most tanks are bad. These ones are worth taking.
Yes, usually when you can get them cheap enough. That makes them... Right, because if you take a 250-point tank, you're losing, maybe 2 dice? Well, you're one of the... I guess the tank is 1, so you're probably losing a dice, maybe?
Right.
So if you...
At lower points, that's not as bad.
No. It depends. Yeah, I guess it depends on what points you're playing, but you're not going to bring a 235-point tank
in a 1,000-point list.
In a 1,000-point list, because you just lost a dice, at least a dice, if not more.
Yeah. Yep.
Depending what you're taking elsewise. I mean, tanks are fun. Well, sorry, we got one more to cover. We got the Soviet Union.
I can save everyone a lot of heartache on that one. And the light tanks for the Soviets kind of low, with the possible exception of the OT-26, the OT-133 light flamethrower tank. 105 points regular. It's got a turret-mounted flamethrower with a coaxial MMG, and it's only 7+. The rest of them basically have light anti-tank. They're all 7+. One of them has a light auto cannon, but they're light tanks. And there's so much more you can put in the Soviet tank slot that looking at these light tanks is not going to do much for you, to be honest. Unless someone has something different they've seen. I think it's a very easily skipped over section for light tanks. Medium tanks, now you're talking something different.
Yeah. Well, that's a different, yeah.
I think there's just so much in the Soviet list. I just can't see spending the points here.
On a light tank.
Right. Yeah.
There's just so many other choices. I mean, the Soviets literally have everything.
Yeah, they do.
Yep.
They kind of do.
And I think that technically that flame tank, the OT-133, does cross over in the finished list. I don't think it's an official entry, but I think they do have a captured version. Someone will probably correct me on that very quickly since this episode releases, but I believe that is also a captured finished tank option. So for them, it might be a better option, but that's minor power. We're not looking at that in this particular episode.
Nope.
No.
Wait, we're not covering any minor powers? Because I was going to throw out my one more tank in here.
Yeah, if you got a shout out, go for it.
Well, I have to throw this shout out because this episode won't come out where there'll be no time to fix anything. You were talking about that Italian tank in the Fortress Budapest list. I'm going to show you the Italian tank that's in the standard list, which is the M1542.
Yeah, I like that one.
They call it a medium tank, but it's a light tank.
Right.
145 for a turret-mounted light anti-tank gun and 2 coaxial MMGs and 2 hull-mounted MMGs.
That's exactly what I just called out, but is that in the Italian list too?
That is the M1542. That is the Italian version of it.
Okay, so that's like the same stat line.
Yeah, this is before the Germans stole all of them.
Okay. So like you beat it by a week sort of deadline.
Basically, yeah. You'd see very few. Well, there's probably as many of these in service as there are Pumas ever made it into service, which is not many.
Right, so like less than 100.
Yes. Yeah.
Well,
yes,
I've got
same
one
stat line. Okay, but so the Italians do get their own tank. Hey, nice job.
They do.
Good for them.
Yep.
Yeah.
They must have rolled those out before they changed the paint job on them.
Yeah. If you see any of these in Italian service, they're most likely the RSI ones. So that's the loyalists to Mussolini after the Italian surrender.
Okay.
Main government surrenders.
Interesting. Okay. Like the partisans?
No. So when Italy conked out of gave up in the war, decided discretion was the better part of valor, or whatever you want to say.
Right. Yeah.
The official government switched sides to the Allies, but those fascists that were still loyal to Mussolini formed their own government in the northern part of Italy, and that's the RSI. So they're not they're still an organized military. They're just more under direct German control. But
right.
So they're the real hardcore guys that wouldn't give up. So, but yeah, so that's light tanks.
Cool.
Some of the best.
Some of the best. I'm sure there's probably some other ones in light art and some of the minor powers that we didn't cover.
Yeah.
Though
these are worth taking.
Yep.
That's about all you got to say. It's like these are actually valuable and would see the table maybe. Some of them would.
I know it's heresy to say this in a World War II game, but honestly, the game plays better when everybody kind of limits themselves to light tanks. And it's hard for me to say because I know how iconic the Sherman is, and the Panzer III and IV, and the Cromwells. And those are all like, oh, when you think of World War II, that's what you think of because those are some of the most numerous tanks. But the game itself plays better when you stick to light tanks.
I would like to disagree with you, but yeah.
What if they just made me like? Are you saying point wise, or are you just saying like play wise? Like is it almost imbalanced? If
squad level gameplay favors to that like tank stuff.
Yep.
Sure. I'm just thinking of like what if you just made them all cheaper? Like, then it would be easier to take them, but that's not really what you're saying.
No,
that's not what I'm saying. No.
Yeah. It's not a points problem. It's a how they interact problem.
Let's not repoint the whole game until at least version 4.
Yeah. Well, it's just how things interact is the problem.
Well, I think there'd be interesting things to do that change that too, right? Like you could do, I mean, improvised anti-tank weapons were numerous, right? Like making things that'll blow up tanks was something that people did. Like it's not like so nobody having anti-tank grenades. I guess they are still able to assault a tank if they get close to them.
They are.
If they have to take a tank fear check.
Yep.
I guess. Maybe not then. Okay. I was just like, why doesn't everyone just have anti-tank grenades? It just seems like it would be worthwhile.
They're too expensive.
Well, I'm just saying is everyone got them for free, like just as part of their kit. But I guess it's really not. It's probably not historically accurate to give everyone anti-tank grenades.
Not everyone was trained how to charge a tank. Most people are trained how to fire a gun at the other guy.
If they were that lucky.
Right. How to knock the dust out of their clip before they reloaded it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's tanks. I mean, we'll try and cover mediums in your episode, right, Pat? Like,
yeah, we've got more episodes under our belt. I realize the summer's been really hit or miss for all of us with getting our schedules synced up. But yeah, we're still here. We're just a little slower than we'd like to be. But you know what? Last year we put out at least 4 episodes more than we normally would have. So there you go. We're banking those.
Is that how this works? Yeah, we did more than we were supposed to.
Yeah, so, we're ahead of queue. So now we're keeping back up to once a month. So good.
which is summer. We gotta.
Yeah, it is. Things
happen. Little ones to run around and mow the lawns and stuff. Although I haven't had to mow my lawn in a month.
So. You mean beat back the weeds?
Not even that. I'm just letting everything grow. Nothing's growing, quite honestly.
You're not wrong.
So let's talk about this because I didn't know this existed.
Nobody did.
Nobody
secret.
Does. Like, is it actually? It's something that you can take in just a normal game.
Yes.
Okay.
100% legit, and in fact, it was even legit for Theaters of War. Everyone missed it. I didn't point it out, but everyone missed it.
I was just saying, did anyone know it existed?
Sorry, no. One person did ask about it, and then later changed into something else anyway. So. This
like
is
this pair of shorts or what?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Toe thongs.
All right.
So this came out in the campaign for Battle of France. It is
a long time ago.
It is an all nations theater selector.
Yep.
It says legit. This is a generic anti-tank gun reinforced platoon. And what do they say about this? Let's see, anti-tank gun reinforced platoon list is designed to be used in conjunction with the generic reinforced platoon list and the bolt action rulebook and all Army's supplements, as well as the generic Army platoon selector of page 11 of Tank Wars. This list represents a very broad brush look at general concepts behind anti-tank gun platoons, so it is not balanced for playing against specific historic lists. This is a reinforced platoon selector that anybody can actually take in conjunction with another reinforced platoon selector, whether it be Tank Wars or the generic reinforced platoon selector. Especially in theaters or tournaments that allow 1 or 2 selectors.
Well, it has to be, because it has to be taken in conjunction with something, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what it said.
Yep. So, page 98, for anyone who has the book, and has probably just cracked the spine and said, oh fuck, I skipped that. It is a 1 lieutenant, mandatory, first or second, and 2 anti-tank guns of the same type. Those are your mandatory selectors.
Yep.
Plus, you can have 0-1 infantry squad, 0-1 captain or major, 0-1 medic, 0-2 forward observers, artillery or air,
Blech.
0-1 machine guns, 0-2 field artillery or anti-tank gun selectors. There is a caveat here that these must be the same as the same mandatory compulsory types. You can also take a 01 anti-tank, anti-aircraft vehicle or self-propelled artillery, and a 01 transport vehicle or tow per infantry and artillery selector in the reinforced platoon. That's the selector. That's everything.
So you can spend a lot of points on some stuff that you maybe wouldn't normally spend points on.
You could. So from the British, the first thing I thought of the British is you can put 4 25-pounders in the list.
And 3 artillery observers.
And 3 artillery observers.
And then you have no points for anything else. But
let's see. So 25-pounders, 55. So 2, 4, 10, about 500 points, about half a 1,000-point list, and you've got second lieutenant and 4 25-pounders, which are a very, very, very versatile artillery piece. Because they got the +4 AT, and they also have the 2-inch HE with them.
Right. Could you get that cheaper?
So 55 points each. 410, 110, 220, 255 is the cheapest you can put that 5 order dice list together at.
Okay.
So
pretty good. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not gonna say no. It's a lot of artillery.
4 artillery pieces.
So
without, yeah.
I'm thinking table minimum reinforced platoon, inexperienced platoon of German, and then 4 88s.
Woo! There's the other. Oh, hey, just want to bring this up. I posted very briefly in our Discord and then quickly removed it just because I wanted to bring it here first. So I got an email from Alessio, and he wanted to know if we had addressed in some FAQ or the rules of what happens with these heavy artillery pieces that don't have a tow and only have a first wave option. And he's like, did we address that? Are they just lost? Do we say they can't come to the table? And
that's
Paul
what
Walker
the rule said.
Paul Walker and I said, yeah, that's the thing. He's like, I don't think I like that so much. We've maybe changed the rule that these things can come on with a 6-inch move, and then the mule team kind of disbands and buggers off. And he kind of basically said he's going to put that next FAQ.
What?
He must be looking at bringing one on one of his lists.
Yeah, apparently.
Obviously, he played one of them and said, this sucks. What do you mean I don't get to bring him on because I don't have a tow? Oh, wait, I write the rules. I can change this, right?
I'll be very curious how he words that.
Yeah,
because he mentioned errata, not FAQ. He said, well, I'm looking to errata this.
How would we just?
You'd have to errata the first wave, wouldn't you? The first wave rule.
Yeah, you would absolutely have to. That's probably where he'd have to change it.
Or otherwise, if you're changing the tow options for heavies, because mediums can just roll on.
Everybody but heavies can just roll on.
Right.
So, I'm reading the email from him verbatim right here. I will errata to say that those heavy guns are allowed a single 6-inch move to enter the table as a first wave / reserve. In parentheses, assuming there's a horse-drawn limber towing them to the edge of the table, then deploying them, and then buggering off, in parentheses.
Oh, well then, there you go. You don't need a tow anymore.
Yeah, if they change it so you don't ever need a tow for heavies, because
you can bring it on in reserve, which is why you'd bring a tow anyways.
Which I expect an FAQ before the middle, probably as this episode releases or shortly thereafter. Also,
he gets it in there.
Also in that, so he did answer my other questions. Since we spoiled some stuff. We also talked about the zero. We talked about this early in the episode, but I got confirmation from him that the theater selectors that only say 01 tow, he basically said, I don't think this is something that we can FAQ. This is just going to have to go rules as written. Those theater selectors.
Well,
so they're not technically wrong. Let's go rules as written. But it made him look at a different question, which brought about the tow thing. So
yeah, he's not going to even matter anymore.
Yeah,
he doesn't play theater selectors.
Yeah, if they do the errata.
If they change towing, then it doesn't matter at all.
So I'm just going to say it. If it's a special move that gets them on the table, right? Like it's not an order dice move. It's just a special rule for deploying. I'm going to be decidedly unhappy because one of the very few things the Italians have going for them is that your opponent can't run the first turn.
Yep, which means team weapons can't
come on the board. Turn. Yeah. So if it's just some special voodoo magic rule that they can just appear 6 inches onto the table, that's going to blow. Because that's just another nerf to the Italians they don't effing need.
Well, so again, a team weapon can't come on in advance. It still has to be a run.
Sure.
Right.
But if that's what I'm saying.
If the first turn.
If the heavies get a magic, they appear 6 inches onto the table, and it's not a run order, that's going to be troublesome.
Yeah. Right, all of a sudden there's an 88 that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
Yeah, and it's firing on turn 2 instead of turn 3.
Correct.
Well, I'll fire back at him. Hopefully we can catch it.
Clearly we have someone that has his ear. We can probably figure this out, Jeff.
Yep.
I think even if it gets changed the way you don't like it, there's a good chance it might get changed again.
Well, it won't be active for Pat's tournament anyway, so...
No, right, it doesn't make a difference anymore.
Again, these FAQs, if they come out mid-next week, are not effective for this Saturday.
Right, yeah. That would be crazy.
And I have addressed all, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, I have addressed all that I can in the rules pack, so read it for Christ. Do you three read the rules pack at all?
No.
Jesus Christ, you guys.
Hey, don't take it personal. I don't read any tournaments tournament pack.
Yeah, that's not a new thing. This is, I know I played in at least one tournament where we played the wrong scenario at least twice in a tournament.
So you guys missed the Kevin rule that said that if you don't wear pants, you will be kicked out.
Well, I guess I've never worried about that because I wear pants.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Although maybe I should.
I don't care. No, I mean you should have put it in there. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Like I mean.
Did you guys see the email that I sent out today?
Yes, I did see that.
Yeah,
I did read that one. You posted it to us before you even sent it out, so we knew it was coming anyway. But I do appreciate that. I do think it's the proper etiquette at this point to wear masks for a tournament at this point.
Yep.
Things will change again, I'm sure.
Yeah, hopefully. We got. Speaking of changing again, November. Operation SNAFU, we are now at 23 of 36.
Nice.
Good time, guys.
So
better sign up if you want to come.
Yeah, sign up.
And as soon as I put a wrap on the Tournaments of War, all that you have signed up can expect a correspondence verifying your sign up and some additional information coming for that. So I know there's at least 3 people that have signed up. They're listed twice, so I have to find out who you are and who you signed up for, so we get the proper contact information, and we get the proper contact information for the badge stuff back to the Renegade guys. So
right, because bought 2 tickets, one for him and his buddy.
Yeah, I bought one for me for my son, one for me, one for my cousin Billy, or whatever it is,
Jesus. Wow. Okay.
All right, that took a hard turn. Let's move on.
I'm like, hopefully we're not worried about people being like that, but it's okay. All right, yes, let's move on, please. Let's move on from that. Speaking of tournaments, this is something that I'm actually excited about this conversation because I have 2 people. Well, I mean 3 people. Hell, I don't play in tournaments very often, so I'm excited to do this. But I think you guys are pretty seasoned in this, and I think this is important to recognize. So I don't know where this came from, but I think that this is important to talk about, like playing in a tournament versus playing with clubmates at your club. That's a huge deal. Like there's
this comes from indirect observation and some just conversation with a lot of the newer players that we've had who are kind of like, what do I do? What can I do? Can I watch a game? Can I tell them they're doing stuff wrong, or think, or can I ask questions? And with the Theaters of War coming up this Saturday, knowing that there's going to be a lot of people, this is their first tournament, and knowing that even those observers in the club are still new to the game, and kind of just letting them know, hey, this is what's going on in a tournament, and these are also why tournament games move faster than your club games.
Right.
So this is kind of where this is coming from. I just thought it would be a good topic for us just to brush over.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the first thing you can think of is club games, like you said, are always longer. You just you're taking your time. You're relaxing.
Your club games are almost literally double what a tournament game is in time frame.
For sure. Yeah, because
there's no pressure. You're just playing. You're talking. You're like, what else do you do this week? oh, hey, let's go ahead and look that up. Hey, while we're at it, let's look this up too.
Well, or even just like I'm going to sit and think about my next decision for a while. Like, well, I could do this or I could do that. Or what is he going to do? Like, you have a lot of time to you can sit there and think.
I think
that's available to you.
I think the biggest difference in my experience between a club game and a tournament game is typically at a club game, there are 3 or 4 of your mates sitting around the table, and they're watching, and you're all talking back and forth about different things that are happening in the game.
And they second guess everything you're trying to do.
Well, maybe a little bit, or maybe they're asking questions,
or they're honestly throwing jabs at you about why you didn't do that.
Well, yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. And that's just kind of built into the club gaming atmosphere, and so that's 100% removed within the tournament. At least typically it is, and so that's just one. I mean, depending. Sometimes some folks will come and watch, but they're not going to be typically asking questions and stuff like that. So
no, and so okay. Here's an example. One of our friends at a tournament that we used to go to for Warhammer Fantasy. Okay, in a normal gaming setting at a club, I'm sitting there watching a game, and one of them, his opponent forgets the rule that he was supposed to remember, and it was significant. He had a Slan. If you remember what a Slan is, it's like half of his army is this one model. And he forgot he could re-roll his leadership check. In the tournament, he forgot this. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I saw it right away. But as a tournament player, I recognize that I'm not allowed to say anything about their game. That's their job, just to figure those things out. And it actually cost him the game. I felt bad, but is it my position to tell him? I shouldn't have told him, because that's the weird thing is the relationship between those two people, and I'm just a bystander. I have to watch and not be able to say anything. Is that correct?
Yes.
I mean, that's what I feel like it had to be. I couldn't say anything because that.
Yeah, in my opinion, the only 2 people who would be allowed to say anything would be the 2 people playing.
Right. So I mean, it made me feel bad, but I also was like, this isn't my place to say anything. So that's another big thing between club games and like as a spectator, the expectation is you kind of you don't necessarily say anything about what's happening in the game.
Right, and the outcome of the game, what occurred was because of what happened between the 2 players. It wasn't necessarily because you failed to say something, because that's not your place. Yeah. No,
exactly. That's it. Right. It wasn't my forgetfulness that cost him the game. But it just is what happened.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was malicious. There was no malicious intent in it. It was just they both forgot the rule at the moment, and that cost him the game. So
that's a very, I mean, forgetting rules or getting rules wrong or playing something incorrectly is in my opinion reasonably common.
Right.
And so
for sure.
It's much less common that messing something up to that degree changes the outcome of the game, but it certainly has happened, and it can happen. Mm-hmm. But you should hopefully going in. Then also this is part of tournament etiquette is preparing yourself for those kinds of situations where, oh shoot, I've just forgotten something that might have cost me the game. Well, drat.
Right.
And those things kind of happen. But if you're preparing yourself, and those mistakes happen, then they kind of happen, and then hopefully the next game things go better, and you do a better job of remembering.
You'll remember it next time for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
That's the big difference, right? It's like you'll remember it. I think, unfortunately, this cost him high placement at the end of the tournament because. Yeah. Again, bolt action is a very different game from that game because, there's nothing in the game that costs you half your army, like one singular thing other than, I guess, a tiger.
Yeah, a tiger.
But nobody's bringing tigers that I know of to tournaments. So,
well, I think something similar that might have happened was the original incarnation of Tiger Fear. You've got that rule, you've got the tiger out, but if you're not remembering each time that something's within line of sight. And they have to take that order check. So that would be an example of a similar rule, in bolt action that might have. It's just similar, and it is really easy in the flow of the game. You get into a rhythm to just kind of forget something, or
or you become the annoying German player. It's just Tiger Fear. So. Tiger Fear. Every time they're like, "I'm going to do Tiger Fear."
Yeah, but you have to be.
I know that's the only thing you can do. thankfully, when you get into a tournament roll and you've been doing that for the first 2 turns, normally they're just like Tiger Fear. Okay, you're rolling a Tiger Fear. Like they catch on to you being annoying because, like, that's unfortunately what you have to do to remember that silly rule every time you need to use it. Not so much anymore, because now you have to measure. Is that what the current incarnation of it is? I don't even know what the current one is. That scares me a little bit.
You have to declare your order before you measure the 18 inches.
Ah, that's the difference.
Is it 18 or is it 12?
It is 18 now, and
18.
you have to declare your order first before you measure that distance.
Right. So if you're going to say an advance and fire, then there's a chance you might have to take a Tiger Fear check.
Yes.
If you're going to say fire, you might be just fine anyway.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. Easy enough. Thanks. Thanks for the FAQ there, Pat.
That's what I do, right?
Yep. So, right. What is the tournament? What is the Theaters of War time limit? Was it 2.5 hours?
2.5 hours. Although none of you read the player's pack, so again, the last revision C, I changed the time frame because I only allowed for 90 minutes for turn 2.
Oh,
I omitted I just took an hour away from everybody. Sorry about
daylight
that.
savings time in the middle of the bolt action tournament.
Yep.
right. Boof. Oh, it's turn 5 already. Okay.
Yep. So I did put that big in. So now we're wrapping up at 7:30 of the wards.
Yeah, that's brutal. But
so
is that because of what time the store opens?
The store opens at 10. But
Yep,
he's allowing me in at 8 to set up the tables.
Okay, that's nice. Okay.
And it sounds like at least a couple of his guys are going to, Logan himself and a couple of the guys are also going to help set up the tables, which is nice.
That's nice. Yeah.
Because 12 tables set up in 2 hours, I can't do that by myself.
I was just saying, I'm surprised you're not being able to set up the night before, but I guess it'd be late.
Friday night is their busiest night.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, you'd have to do it way late at night.
So
that sounds like not so much fun either.
And that's fine. And Wednesday or Thursday this week, I need to fit check my MDX to make sure I can get 8 tables in there with the holy cow, the woolly laden prize support I got in this thing is just ridiculous.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Right?
Everybody's leaving with something. I guarantee the $15 you spent, you're getting more than that back in prize support, even if you get the worst prize out there. So
does that include us?
Yes, it does.
Woohoo! Okay.
And,
We'll see what we get. We'll be trading amongst ourselves, I'm sure. I'll probably just give it right back to you for the next tournament.
Well,
maybe.
And we'll get. Hopefully, we can wrap this up and mention the rest of the sponsors. We do have. We've signed a couple more for Operation SNAFU. So
Sweet.
Excellent.
Cool. Touch on that too. So.
Yeah, I mean, is there anything else you want to cover for turning play?
Sorry, I had to step away for a quick second. Dale, did you cover what the WTC actual specific examples are and what they have? I consider them kind of the gold standard of you don't do this during tournament play sort of stuff, and they're very particular about it. Do you cover any of that, Dale?
I haven't talked about
Let's maybe
involved.
go over exactly what you're getting at, and this is not.
Some of these don't apply to local events,
right.
but
all right.
So this is just an example of what a very tight, strict tournament play is, and I think it's very fantastic, especially given the language barriers when you're talking about a World Team Championship.
Well, that's the big thing, right?
Yeah. So as far as the WTC is concerned, as I recall, and I haven't reviewed the rules pack since before COVID, so I might be a little fuzzy
I can fill in some of your gaps.
So as far, it's a team event first of all, and teams representing various nationalities, and so as far as communication goes, while you were playing, you were expected to communicate to your opponent using English. As far as the rule books
Shouldn't
go,
be a problem in the States.
as far as the rules go, the English written rule books and Army books are in effect.
For the record, that is the Old English.
So now
the R's and the E's in different spots.
Yes,
Don't confuse him now.
So this is as opposed to some things
Like
lost in
not using
translation.
Spanish, yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
so the way a rule is worded in Spanish could change how it's played, based off of how it's translated. So
Context and grammar.
exactly, and also it's a team event, and so there's 4 players on each team, and while games are going on, you as a player are not allowed to observe other players on your team while they're playing or communicate with them in any way. While you're playing, you can kind of look at other tables and try to gauge what's going on, because in a team environment, basically, depending upon how the matchups go, you may be trying for 2 major wins and 2 draws. And so if you're playing on a table where you're hoping to play for a draw, it's not a great matchup for you. You're hoping to play for a draw. If you look over at the 2 tables that are supposed to be getting major wins, and you see that, oh, shoot, one of them's really struggling, you may have to be in a position where you have to push. You might have to push beyond kind of that. And so you can kind of look and see, but there's no communication between any of the players.
You can't ask them, like, holy cow, are you
That's right.
behind? What's going on? You can't communicate with any of your team members.
Exactly. And in the lead up to the tournament, a lot of discussion goes on as far as rules interpretations, what we can expect the judges to rule, which way. That way, all of those rules discussions happen out front in the open before the tournament even starts. But should something happen during the tournament, then the captains can be brought in to discuss something with the judge, and once the judge makes their final ruling, that's it. Whether you agree with the ruling or not, the judge has made the ruling, and that's going to be how it's played. So, at which point then it's all right. Pick up your dice and carry on with it.
And after the judge has made a rule, you can't later then find the FAQ with the exact wording you were looking for in your favor and bring it up. It's too late.
Right. And so again, as far as it goes, I think the structure is such that we're trying to get all of the rules, because we all play things a little differently, and we've seen some questions be posed, and it seems obvious to us what should occur, but that might not necessarily mean it's obvious to the people playing halfway around the world. So, and anytime that you walk up to a table in a tournament setting and you're playing someone who you have not played before, you can always find yourself in a situation where you do play something a little bit differently. And
when the number of times I've heard at tournaments like, we played this back with our guys, this is how we've always done it.
Right.
Right. Well, that might be the case, but the rule kind of says this.
This is why I explicitly hate house rules.
Right.
They don't even mean it or intend to do it, but that's just how they play it, because that's how they were playing it. Right?
And here's an interesting thing, and this is true of our club. We will have played something the same way for years and not actually realize that it was just a house rule that we had in place. And so then when it comes down to the game itself, the etiquette, you have to balance what your motivations are and decide kind of what's important. And for me, the most important thing is finishing the game. And if you spend 30 minutes arguing something, not arguing, discussing the disagreement, then you risk not finishing the game, which is bad etiquette in my opinion.
Yeah,
I agree. And so then the ways around it are simply do your best to know the rules as written in the book and the FAQ as best as you can. Failing that, and if there is a disagreement, if you don't know where to find it in the book immediately, and they don't, call over a judge. You don't want to spend more than a few minutes, maximum 5 minutes, trying to come to a resolution. And if you've reached that point and you still haven't been able to agree, you roll the dice and then you move on with it. And so I think before you even roll that first dice, come to an agreement with who you're playing. So that, hey, what? If we don't agree, are you cool with this?
So I apologize, guys. I was going to try and have this. There's a great flow chart that John Russell and Paul Walker have come up with that kind of shows a step-by-step of where you can go through this to begin with. And once this episode posts, I'll put this up on Discord and our Facebook and the Twin Cities Facebook. It'll be printed out and on display this Saturday at Theaters War. But it basically comes down to, when should I ask for help? And that is, we disagree on how it's played, or I think my opponent is cheating because of this, and it goes through all the steps of that, and it takes you to your quick resolves, and then when to call for a TO, in this case myself, to come over and make a decision on it. And nowhere in there should you be, Dale's right next to me. He's got a podcast.
Yep.
I just ask him; he'll know.
Yeah,
Don't interrupt someone else's game.
He might
That's
know.
the big thing.
He might, but that's not the right person to ask.
Right, and I'm
right.
and if you ask me, I'm going to go.
Jeff,
I'm going to say, have you looked in the book? Well, no, we can just ask you. Nope, sorry, I'm playing my game. You guys have to sort it out. And then it's like
you're being disrespectful to my opponent.
Right, because the time limits that involved in the game is that because they're trying to play their games as fast as they can with their and they've got enough going on in their own decisions. And you've all been through this. Like you're holding your dice, like, and the opponent goes, "What are you doing?" You're like, "I don't fucking clue." Well, you have to do something. Well, and for them while they're contemplating, someone go, "Hey, is this charge legal? Can he do that?" Like, no, don't bother the other players. Right. That's what the referee, the tournament organizer, is there to do and to be part of that. And there's there's nice little steps to go through to determine if you can find it out quickly enough, if you know about where the rules are, or and then honestly, if you ask me, I could probably tell you the page number where it's on,
and that's fine. But like, just to reiterate, if we're at the tournament and there's a question and I'm playing the table next to you and you turn and ask me to solve it, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to ignore you. Nothing personal. Right. I'm going to ignore you.
And that's what you should do.
No.
I'll acknowledge that you exist, but I'm not going to give you the answer either, because I'll give you the wrong answer, first of all, so you shouldn't ask me. I think that's the first clue. Just don't ask me the questions.
No, Rick, you'll say, "Oh, crap, I did that in turn 1 and it was wrong. Don't do that."
Don't do that. No, I'm not that bad, typically.
Kidding.
But, yeah, I'm not. I'm with you guys. I don't think you should. Where I see dice rolls the most prevalent, and I think this is a good way of using rolls, is, are you in my front or are you in my arc? Like, where am I? Like, do I have cover or do I not have cover? Like, there can be really wishy-washy things.
The cover,
there,
not cover, is the biggest dice-off thing. Yep.
If you're super close to expedite the... that's not the right word.
Expedite.
But expedite the decision-making. If you and your opponent are like, this is a very seasoned tournament thing. You're like, okay, it's almost 50-50. 1 through 3 I have cover, 5 or 4, 5, 6 I don't. Just to keep moving the game, so you're not sitting there like getting out laser pointers and trying to like get everything really close. Like it's really close, but it's one you could go either way. At that point, you might as well just roll the dice. Like it just moves the game along.
I will also say that, especially with newer players or even just people who haven't, we've all had a year and a half off from this game, for Christ's sake. You're gonna play rules wrong, and that's okay. As long as you play them the same from that point forward.
Right, and you're not intentionally trying to deceive anyone or be malicious about it, right? If you forget a rule, you forget a rule, but don't,
If you go back and say, hey, you know what, in turn 2, you said this, and we decided that, now I've got the same situation, apply that same interpretation you did at that
play
time.
it the same. Exactly. Play it the same for the rest of the game.
Don't play it correctly after that, because now you're throwing in the fact that you guys have played 2 different rules throughout the game. You have to play the same rule, whether you played it right or wrong. You got to play it throughout the game.
Yeah. And I will say, because I didn't want to interrupt you there, Rick, but I will say I'm one of those guys that has a laser line pointer, but I always err on the side of it's in cover.
And that's fair too.
Because I don't want to sit there eyeballing and dicking around for 30 minutes. Someone arguing, well, I can see most of that last guy, and that'd be overhead. Just fucking take cover. I don't care.
Right. You're always assuming the least good intention for you, like, or the least good result for you, right? That's relatively good in most cases. There are times where it probably matters in a game where you might want to okay, I'll go back to the laser pointers for a second because this bothers me a little bit. When I got my fucking eye down at the table, don't shoot me in the eye with a laser. Like, I've had that happen to me. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, dude?
Can I put a second mirror down so I can get both eyeballs?
Yeah, right. Yeah, like, let me put my laser sunglasses on. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, just let me back up for a second.
Yeah, so
don't shoot me in the eyeball.
So the rule of cover I like to go with is, if you can't tell, there's cover.
Yep.
If it's not blatant, there's cover, because these dudes they're trained guys, and the last thing they want to do is get shot. They are taking whatever cover they can from anything.
And I go as far as, like, when I'm moving my guys to be like, are these guys in cover? Do you think they're in cover? Like, when I'm moving them,
discussing intention. Yes.
Right. I'm like, I want them to be in cover. How would I get them in cover? Do you think this is in cover? Okay, great, we're in cover. Great, let's move on. Right. Being able to do that during a game too helps a lot. Where you're like, my intention is that they're in cover. If you don't agree, let's talk about it now so I can move my guys to where they would be.
How about here?
Yep.
How about here?
Is this guy now? If this guy's out of the line, okay, great, we're good.
Yep.
Like, moving on, right? Like, that comes down to just being, most people maybe aren't good at this, but just communicating while you're doing something and your intention of what you're trying to do.
Yep, it speeds up the game a lot too.
It does.
It does, because you're thinking out loud and it helps your opponent understand what's happening, and you don't have a miscommunication later when you're like, I thought I had cover here.
Yep.
Like, you're not arguing with them about that later. It just saves a whole bunch of bad things. It's not amazing how that works.
I mean, when it comes to the whole rules thing, and are you in cover, are you not in cover, and all of those little things that happen every time you play a game of bolt action. There are so many of those things that happen during the game. If you get caught or stuck on one of those moments, I can almost guarantee you 99% of the time the outcome of the game isn't going to be determined on that individual moment. And you may, in fact, just find it easier to go, well, what do you think? Okay, let's do that. And then just try to apply that as consistently as you can moving forward. Because, if you demonstrate that you're willing to see things from your opponent's point of view, they're more likely to do the same to you moving forward. And then once the game is done and you're sitting there talking with your new best friend, because you've probably voted him that on your sportsmanship,
which happens a lot every game is my new best friend.
Then you start to build that rapport, and it just and the games get better moving forward, and it's just and that's how the community gets better.
And to add on that, Dale, too, is that I've mentioned this a number of times that I do sit down for about 3 to 5 minutes after a game, and I'm getting a lot better at this, about writing down what happened during the game so I can go back to it later. And if those are some of those pivotal moments, too, that then I thought about, that I can then bring up later on and find out, was this the right move? Was it because I remember the rules incorrectly or replayed them incorrectly, or what I can do to build off that?
Yeah.
And taking that time to write that down and going back even a week later is like, oh crap, I forgot I even did that. Why would I have done that? The rules, I know this was the rule. Why did I do it that way? It's just, and that builds on you to become a better player with it too.
Yeah, each game, the goal coming out the back end of that is to have finished on time, and then hopefully to be a little bit of a better player. So,
but again, the best thing, getting rules right or wrong, is getting the game done.
Yes.
You have much better results in those turn 5, 6, where you can see whether you played it wrong in turn 2, 3, 4, but played it in 5, 6 and got a result that will make a difference in you looking back at stuff and how you play.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
Well, and quite honestly, those turns 5 and 6 are, the late turns in a game will often be more clear on how you're going to win the game, or how you might lose the game, than the early turns, right? Like you said, Dale, you might screw up a rule early in the game that's probably not going to impact you. Like turn 5 or 6, like you're going to start being able to see things way more clearly, because all of a sudden you're going to have units gone, and they're going to have units gone, and everything's going to be more clear as to what you need to do.
You've probably spent 90 minutes playing on the board, so you should by that point in time know where the cover's at and how the game is being played, and
right. And like and like this unit's sitting on the objective, I have to deal with that unit now. Like all those kinds of things make it a lot easier at the end of the game.
So it's not uncommon in a scenario that has a deployment phase, and round 1 and 2 go by, and all of a sudden you have an hour left.
Right.
That is not uncommon. Do not panic. Because all of a sudden turns 5 and 6 can take 5 to 10 minutes apiece.
Yeah, don't panic, but start pulling the dice out and start being decisive.
But keep moving. Yep. Get decisive. Right. You've thought enough. You've looked enough. You've gone through your first hiccups and the rules questions and your cover questions, and now you kind of know what's going on. So again, it's not uncommon for that first hour and a half to go by, and you're just getting into the end of 2 or the beginning of 3. That's not uncommon.
Yeah.
But if you keep that pace up, you're only getting 4 turns in, and you're going to lose or draw at best in most cases.
Yep. This is another tip for all of those newer players out there, and not that this probably applies right now because you maybe aren't using shared dice bags, but if it's your turn to draw the dice, keep on it. Like, keep moving. Like, if a unit, if your opponent had the dice and you're like, okay, they ran, cool, great, the next dice should already be out, right? Like, you should keep moving.
Yep.
Especially in a tournament setting, you got to keep that dice. You got to keep the dice activations going. don't draw too early that like now the next activation before he's even moved his unit. But like gotta keep on.
A faster play is once you've decided to move the first 2 units in your first 2 miniatures. Thank
models.
you, Jesus, mind blank. First 2 miniatures in that unit, and say, okay, next dice, and you're going to complete that movement. And again, email I sent out today is like Jordan Weeb has a very nice dice app.
Yep.
Check it out. Put it on your phone. Again, for us in the U.S. and probably most of the rest of the world, we're not sharing and swapping dice and licking them together at this point yet. So
we're not. Shit.
Damn. I know.
Oh man.
I know.
Put the lick dice away, Jeff.
Yeah.
Oh, I just got them cherry flavored.
oh damn! Oh, well, I'm playing you first round then. Let's just
do
all the dice.
They're all Jolly Ranchers with the orders printed on them.
Jeez, just stick your hand in
there.
Special get 10 of them.
They're all sticky. You're like, you reach your hand in, you like all of them. You're like, let's go.
Guess I'm doing a snap to action.
Jeff's playing French, and he's like, put them all back. Yeah, right now it obviously doesn't matter, but still, if you're the guy with the app and you're like, okay, it's your turn. Well, first of all, make sure your phone is charged for that. Then, but then too, like, you make sure you're moving it when it's time to start moving it. Like that, I'm very guilty of this, where I'll just like get into daydream and think about what's going on in the game.
Again,
and be like, oh shit, I got the bag. Sorry,
right? It's not impolite to say, okay, next dice. Okay, next dice.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
and then the guy will go, you have the bag. Oh, damn it.
It's like, oh, I thought it was your turn.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you've made a decision. You're moving. You got the first 2 units moved, or first 2 models moved. Okay, next dice. And that, those seconds build up. So,
well, because there's 20 some dice being pulled a turn.
Yeah.
If you forget between 10 seconds, even though the turn is right, however long it takes you to do whatever action you're doing, plus if you just add another 10, 15, 20 seconds on top of that.
And if you're not sure in those first couple turns, you got reserve bars down.
Yeah.
Yep, get those reserves down.
My favorite nothing.
Yeah, the favorite nothing.
Yeah. So I've just spent half my activations doing nothing. But whatever. Anyone else have any cool tips or things for people?
Just quick etiquette things going back to a more local tournament setting. If you've never been to one before, just rules to live by if you're there observing or playing a game. Don't comment on anything. Keep your mouth shut, enjoy, but don't say anything.
Yeah, that's appreciated.
You can talk between rounds, that's great, but don't try to start up a conversation. Don't call out things you're like, oh, I thought this rule was that. Just walk by, smile, watch the game, and then after the game's done and the score sheets are in, feel free to talk.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. Right, because that always used to happen at games or tournaments, right? Buddy finishes his game, he tables his opponent, he comes over to his other buddy's table and he starts talking shit while they're still playing.
Yep. And
it's like,
hate that.
Come on, like you just slowed my game down because you're now playing. And I'll be the first to admit I've been that person before, because it's it happens sometimes, or they ask a question or whatever. But it shouldn't be something.
You've tabled someone at a tournament before?
No.
Been tabled.
Been tabled. And 2, it doesn't matter if I got tabled or not. My game ended before someone else's game ended.
I will put a slightly different twist to what Jeff had said. And if you are a new observer to the game or curious about the game and want to know more about the game, come up to the scorers table.
There you go.
Yes.
Talk to the tournament organizer and say, hey, I kind of want to see how this game played out. I want to ask some questions, and I will let you know what table I think can handle that level of distraction, and they might actually make you pull order dice for them if we're allowed to do that.
That is a possible thing that might happen, yes.
So,
or the game does not maybe matter as much too, right? There's not as much writing on that lower table game, or they're just good sports, and they're, like you said, they're able to handle it.
Or I might just give them to John Stenson, give him a half a second distraction. I don't know.
Give anyone who's playing an advantage. We all get an advantage.
No, I can't. Of course.
Just send Jake Bromley's kids at him.
All 5 or 6. Or
no, it was Joe Rogers Johnny Hastings was always one.
It was Hastings.
Yeah.
I got
Bromley's kids are bad luck for him.
Yes, that was. One of our friends has a bunch of kids, and he would bring them in to distract his opponent.
No, he wouldn't.
During a tournament.
No, he wouldn't.
It was someone Bromley hard, and I suffered that at one point too.
His kids would come and visit during the game because they wanted to see what he was doing. Yeah. That's really what it was.
Yes.
It was distracting because they're all blonde-haired kids, blonde hair, blue eyes.
Very children of the corn.
Oh my gosh, there's like 4 of them here, or 5 of them. Were there 5 of them at that point? I don't even remember how many there were. There were a lot of them, though.
Well, when I suffered the Bromley Horde, there was 5. I know there's more than that now. So,
I'm going to call another one of those kinds of things out because this is not the first time this has happened. I see it all the time. Every time we go to Adepticon, I see at least one person that brings their girlfriend with them. Like, if you really, does she really, like, half the time you look bored as shit, like, sitting there watching him play? Does anyone else remember these things, or is it just me?
No, I remember. Like, I don't know that I... Well, yeah,
I just
typically the partner...
Yeah, it's easy to ignore, but it's still just silly.
I'm trying to remember, was it always a girlfriend? Sometimes women were playing as well, but I don't know that I recall the husbands or the boyfriend sitting there, maybe. But, it just, usually they just kind of sat there and...
just like looked at their phone.
Yeah,
I kind of felt bad for him. Like, at least when I'd go to tournaments in Duluth and my wife would come with me, she'd go do something in Duluth. She wouldn't hang out with me for the day.
Right. There was an opportunity to actually
Chicago, go somewhere.
My wife knows enough to stay safely at home and be enjoyed. So
my wife enjoys me not being around.
Yeah,
too, so.
Exactly. Whatever.
Every once in a while, just get a break.
Not gonna happen.
So
whatever. All right, so there we go.
Yep. And in between games, it's just come around, say hi. And maybe go out of your way. Sometimes some people have traveled a little ways to come in, and they're on their own.
Yeah,
and they might, and maybe we'll go and have lunch together or those kinds of things. So again, it's not just the games and just finishing the games. It's say hello. Bring your best World War II jokes, and we'll have some fun.
Even just learning their name goes a long way. I'm the worst with names. And it's hard for me to do that, but when you're playing a person and you learn their name, and then after after game 2, you're you find them again, and you're like, hey, Johnny, how was your game?
Yeah, look them back up again. That's good.
Yeah, it's always nice, especially when they're younger, newer players.
So speaking to that,
seeing how they're doing. Yeah.
And now I never expected this for a one-day tournament, but we are pulling 2 guys from North Dakota.
Right on.
Ryan and Jeff.
Nice.
And we're also pulling a guy from Rochester, Tom.
Okay.
So
cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks for coming, guys.
Yeah, so seek those guys out, and again, I sent out an email earlier today as we're recording that Battleground Cafe did not get their food contracts up and going as quickly as they wanted to, so they're looking at ordering some pizza from the local pizzeria. So I sent an email out asking people who wanted to sign up for that, and we'll pass the hat around and pay for it. And there's also apparently a good deli next door, and of course there's some stuff just 3 miles south of where we are. So keep that in mind if you're coming out to if you're one of the 24 people who happen to listen. There might be 5 or 6 others that do listen to this podcast as well that are coming to that. So keep that back in that one.
That's all good.
I heard pepperoni and heartburn jumped right in right away.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I'm interested in this deli. I think I'm going to try the deli, depending on what's going on.
Yeah, I haven't been there.
Good either way, so.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I enjoy being able to eat together and having that time to how did the game go? What did you do wrong?
Yeah. Lament the terrible luck and so.
Damn those order dice! Damn the order dice app!
And Jeff going, I don't know. Italian seemed fine. What people are bitching about.
Yeah, all I can think of is the Charlie Brown Halloween special where I got candy, I got a caramel, I got a rock. That's me. I'm Charlie Brown in this case. I got a rock. We'll see. Hopefully, I'm going to play at a casual pace and try and get through the games. That's all I can do.
Yep.
To try and be decisive and right, especially since I'm playing a new list that I have not played before, and I have never played. I'm actually bringing a Panzerwerfer, so I'm just going to be that's what we're doing. We're going to Werfer things. Yep. Going to nebble some Werfers.
Wait, there's
Werfer some nebbles.
There's a Panzerwerfer in your list? What?
What's that?
There's a Panzerwerfer in your list?
Yeah. You didn't see it?
Uh-oh. Well, that's not the list I got, Rick. Kidding.
No,
totally kidding.
I'm
totally kidding.
No way. I know.
After the Dale SNAFU, I had to give you a moment of doubt.
I'm actually considering just sending in the correct list and taking the 10 points. So
how many points? How many points could you max in this tournament?
I have no idea, but it's not actually about.
Well,
that.
I'm asking Pat. 60.
3 rounds, 20 points is a major victory.
And there's no other points involved. All the other stuff.
All the tiebreakers are secondary, and the tertiary are the order dice.
Right. I'm thinking like if you, sportsmanship and painting and all that stuff aren't included.
Those are separate pure voided awards.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So you're sitting at. You're just going to lose 10 points. So you max out. I think I might. 50.
Well, I mean, for me, it was just about iterating on this one specific list. So.
Right. And that makes some sense.
And it's one of those things where it's like, oh, shoot, I forgot to do something right. I mean, we just talked about it. Oh, you missed something up in the game.
Dale, Sunday was another 5 points.
I missed. Well, I mean, that's fine. Again, it's not.
It's 15 now.
It's not one of those things.
20 if your list isn't legal on the day of.
Oh, it should be legal. Oh, I should probably send in the correct one, make sure it's legal. It should be okay. But again, it was, well, I've learned my lesson. I'll have to make sure I send in the correct list next time.
Right. So listen to what the TO says.
And make sure you send everything on the list. I'm literally posting pairings Tuesday morning.
So.
Okay.
What day is it? Oh, it's Sunday.
Sunday now.
Oh, Jesus.
As a record, this episode should... I'm hoping to simul those things too, so I'm hoping to get this edited tomorrow.
I'll buy you some Mountain Dew, Pat. All right. I think we've covered a lot of tournament stuff. Mm-hmm. I think we've probably overwhelmed every new player that's coming to our tournament or anywhere that's listening.
Yeah, I expect several drops on Thursday.
No, yeah.
Guys, no, this is...
Here's the thing.
The experience is great.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah. And once you get to it, and we've got so much stuff, and in fact, I'm actually... Again, what Akhtar was talking to me about, I was talking about, so I've got a ridiculous amount of prize support for this, but I kind of want... No offense to you guys who've been to several tournaments and honestly don't need a lot of this stuff, and the newer players who've just started in the last year, some of the more valuable prizes typically get picked up if you do like, hey, you won first, you get to pick first. You won second, you get to pick second. Okay,
yeah, the rich get richer.
But
right.
But as Akhtar I want to say, he's like, you know what? I like to reverse that. I like to give the guy who finished last the first pick of the prize pack.
Yeah.
Well, sure. That's always nice when you give the bottom guy the first
so
stuff.
You know.
So it's minus 15 points for changing my list.
Right now, as of right now, it's minus 15 points.
And see how I can teach myself. Yeah.
So, and I haven't officially done that, and I've also got some. I reached out to the Topher Loaf and the Juggernauts, and what they kind of do is they just they kind of value their prize packs, whatever, and they rank them, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picks up, but they kind of value base all of them. But I don't have enough value base in these. I mean, some of the stuff I can't put a value on because I got for nothing. And some of them don't have a market value because they're special characters. So,
don't tell people we got cool stuff.
Right, and who really honestly wants the inflatable 25, the inflatable 1700 bullet,
the shell,
which I'm told are out of print now, so that's supposed to add to their value. So they're probably worth 8 cents instead of nothing. I joke, of course.
Like, you're going to pay me shipping? What?
Right. You can't order them. No, they're only available in prize packs. They are not available for purchase. So.
Yeah. I mean, still okay. It's a thing.
Right.
You know what? I don't appreciate it. Someone else will. Someone always does appreciate things that I don't appreciate. So
I'm still kind of weighing those back and forth, and that's kind of what we're looking at. And I, of course, mentioned earlier in the episode that we've got the newbies, the rookies, as we're calling them, because why not? It's their first tournament. That sounds like a rookie to me. That one of them who finishes best amongst themselves is taking home a British 8th Army. I think this 8th Army. I think the starter I picked. But yeah, so
that's cool. I mean, I appreciate that, and I think again,
you're not eligible.
You're new. No, it's fine. I've got a whole freaking 8th Army in my closet right now. I don't need more 8th Army. I got enough of it.
Don't fall asleep and attack at night.
Is that how it works?
I guess.
Does that mean they're going to paint? They're going to paint themselves? They at least assemble themselves?
You might not like where they put the brush, or you might. I don't know.
Yeah, it depends on the day. Regardless.
All right, it's gotten late.
I'm joking. All I was going to say to those rookies and the newer players that are listening to this that are probably coming to our tournament, that I know some of you do listen to us, don't freak out. You'll still have a good time. Even if you don't finish your games, all these things we're talking about are things you'll learn over time. Don't drop because you're afraid to join us. Like, I think that's the biggest dilemma I have. Is like, I remember when I was young and I was like, should I go to a tournament? I don't know. I'm not probably that good. And it's like, dude, it's still fun. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. Like Pat said, coming in and getting prizes, you get something anyway for showing up. Yep. That's cool.
Seeing cool armies.
And you're getting valuable. Yeah. And you're going to get inspired. You're going to learn something from that guy that beat you in a game, or whatever. Like, there's always opportunities to like do better at this, right? But the only way you get better is by doing it. So you got to come and do it.
As weird as this sounds, losing game one is obviously the best thing you could do. Because you're going to play someone else who lost game one.
As long as you're playing me, go ahead and lose round one.
Yeah, lose game one to me too. That sounds great. Like, no, well, whatever. It doesn't matter. Even with Dale losing 10 points,
he's already looking
better than me.
Dale's already looking at chumping down 15 points. I may just reject it in principle, Dale. Sorry.
Well, let me see if I can get a truck painted. So.
But I get what Dale's going for here, right? He's not going to necessarily win. He's iterating on his list for another tournament. Like, he's using these as practice games for something else.
And that was always kind of part of our approach a little bit, was there were a couple of big tournaments that we were prepping for, and all the other tournaments were preparation.
Are just reps for that.
Were the lead up to, to the bigger ones. So.
For the record, Dale, you cannot play in Operation SNAFU.
I can play in the WTC though.
You can play in the Recon Rumble.
So
you can play in my tank game too, Dale. Don't worry.
I think I'll be working that Friday. So that tank game, maybe we'll see how much I've had to drink. So
that's the idea.
Wait, do I have to paint a tank?
No.
Okay.
No. Pat's got all the tanks we will ever need. I'm sure. Actually, you probably need to figure that out, but we will have.
No, that sounds
tanks.
accurate.
Yeah, I think you have an entire. Well, we need to get an assload of German tanks. You don't have a buttload of.
I've only got 4 German tanks.
I've got some I can throw in.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll beg, borrow, and steal some here. We'll get it figured out.
Do you have any updates to that, Rick? By the way, since you broached it.
No, not really.
Okay,
I'm working on stuff, but not really.
So episode 64, actively. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, that sounds like a better choice. I have the basics, but not any of the deep stuff yet.
I think we're going to push off our overview of the D-Day U.S. sectors for that too as well, because it's gotten very late here, very quick.
Yep, good call.
Yeah, and especially since they didn't give us the book until way later.
Well,
or we didn't see the book. I shouldn't say we gave. We didn't see the book until well after release, didn't we?
I saw the book. I saw the book at the same time the retailer saw it, which was pre-order on my doorstep. So,
yeah, well, it is what it is.
It's all right.
Yeah,
it's all good.
I'm just used to seeing things early. It's fun to see things early. So, anyone listening from Osprey, did you lost your contact there again? Didn't you? Pat?
Nope, got one back.
Oh,
and
got a new one.
Actually,
okay.
So I'm back in the Osprey early release, and that was 3 weeks behind the official release.
All right. I think we can call it there. We're getting salty and not being productive anymore. Enjoy your light tanks. We'll see some of you at the tournament. Hopefully, the rest of you are participating in tournaments where you can.
Sign up for after SNAFU. Spots are running out. And also Recon Rumble.
Mine won't run out of space because I will keep making space.
Recon Rumble is on the verge of being canceled. Please sign up for it. It's a Friday game. I know.
Ooh. Yeah, that's hard. It's such a weird weekend.
Yeah, it is a weird weekend, and they're trying to be a full. We're a con, but we're not a con. We haven't got to a con yet, but we currently have 7 people signed up for the Recon Rumble, and if we do not get to 12, it will be dropped.
Sure.
So
yeah, makes sense. Kind of makes sense.
Talking to Jeff, Dale, and Rick to maybe sign up for the Recon Rumble.
Well, I thought I was banned from playing in Recon Rumble after last time.
As a wrecker, yes, you are. As a player, go win the fucking thing, dude. Shit.
I'll have to look at the rules again. I guess you got a Marine Army with a bunch of buffaloes. That might work terribly.
Yeah.
I think we saw that one, if I'm not mistaken, last year.
Yeah, that was me.
All right.
It didn't work out very well. I mean, it was fine. It worked just fine, but it wasn't anything special. You probably do better with it than I did, to be fair. I just rolled it out. I had no idea what I was doing with it, but I put all the dudes in one clown car, so that didn't help. Actually, no, that's true. I brought a truck, too. I kind of spread out a little bit. But, regardless, I'll gladly participate. Do I have to buy a weekend pass?
No.
Okay. Well, then we'll talk. We'll talk after we'll stop recording, and I can talk to you about that later. All right. I got nothing else. You guys, we'll see you soon. We'll talk to you in a month.
Sounds good.
Pat, lead us out.
Good grief. This is SNAFU over and out.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Adios.
Long ago and far away, I dreamed a dream one day, and now that dream is here beside me. Long the skies were overcast, but now the clouds have passed. You're here at last. Chills run up and down my spine. Aladdin's lamp is mine. The dream I dreamed was not denied me. Just one look and then I knew that all I longed for long ago was you. Chills run up and down my spine. Aladdin's lamp is mine. The dream I dreamed was not denied me. Just one look and then I knew that all I longed for long ago was you.
Oh,
To
on the
your
16th.
Gmail. Yeah, Gmail. Ian, Rick.
Whatever email you provided me with is where I sent it to.
Yep.
If you don't check that one, I can't help you.
That's true.
And I'm leaving this part in.
Yeah, it didn't have the little attachment on my email, so I couldn't see which one it was. There we go.
Sorry, I'm looking for a different list. The 16th, you said?
TOW scenarios. That could have been the second time I sent them out.
For goodness sakes, envelopment is in here. Boo.
Mm-hmm.
Now that it's all official, I can tell you that I don't like all your scenarios. So.
Well, there are 5. We're only playing 3.
Did you spell my name right in that email? I did not get one from you on the 16th.
Yes, you did. No, the 13th, not the 16th, the 13th.
God, okay, you said the 16th. I was super confused.
I apologize then.
No.
I meant the 13th.
All right, I have the one from the 13th. I was looking for an updated one.
Do you realize how many different people I've had to send these out with ad drops?
It's okay. That's your job. You should just post them on a website or something. Wow. Should I work on that for you?
Thanks. Yeah.
Next time. I'll give you a spot to put them or something. We'll figure it out.